Cursor is catching up, and they've just dropped to-dos. It's currently rolling out, and the possibility here is to actually unlock your productivity with agents by possibly 10x or more. And for those who have been doing agentic coding, for example, using Claude Code or other types of coding types of things, Cursor has released their own version, which will now kind of keep track of the project and kind of help you during your AI coding. And so in this workflow, we're going to cover a little bit about what this new release is and kind of what this looks like. So if you have Cursor 1.2 installed, Ian on X actually posted this brilliant video showcasing a little bit of kind of how it works. So as you can kind of see, the queues of things will stack up. You can just do multiple requests and kind of like one by one after another, you'll just kind of keep adding up your requests. But what we're going to go ahead and do today is we're going to go ahead and see if I can just give it an extensive feature. In my app, I have a whole feature defined. My entire plan for this feature to drop is about 300 something lines, almost 400 lines of code. And it's a pretty well fleshed out feature. I actually used Claude Code to help define this feature, and I just want to do a trial version. So for those who aren't aware, I have an app called Ray Transcribes. And this app right now is currently not live. I'm planning to launch the V1 for this app. And we're gonna go ahead and see if we can actually get it working. So as of right now, I have the database working. So the database is actually all linked up. So it will track people's minutes. People can manage their billing with Stripe, which is really awesome. They can upgrade and downgrade plans, which is really great. And then on my back end, actually, I have all of the subscription plans here, so I can change things on the fly. And that's really great because I don't have to mess up with the UI. One of the advantages of Convex is the fact that I can do this stuff. So today's plan will be, can I actually ship this little invite feature, which will basically allow me to generate invite links as an admin. And so that way people can actually not only start using my app, but can start a free trial. So if I go to admin, I'll show you really quick of kind of what this looks like. This is my admin UI. These are the current plans. This is being pulled from my database and it's actually displayed on the front end. And so I'm trying to use Stripe. I'm using Stripe for all the billing things. And then I can create like a trial invite for any one of my plans, including the days, and then create an invite link. And so when people get this invite link, they'll basically be able to create an account and be able to log in and use my account as they are in any one of these plans and so forth. So that'd be really cool. All controlled through Convex. So a user will be listed here and they'll actually have their specific subscription, whether they're active, their creator, and then what type of subscription they have and how many minutes they have. So each transcription job will be listed here. So this is kind of fun. We're going to kind of go through this. I'm hoping I could just like literally just one shot one feature and then we'll see kind of what's happening. So it'd be really interesting to see how we can actually use this in real life, because I feel like, we're live and why can't we just do this, right? So may I see your projects created by Claude Code? I think I'll see if I can kind of get into that a little bit later, for sure. So YG Fest was the first one to comment Doom. So I think Doom, you're the first one to comment on YouTube as well. So this is definitely a live stream. We're going to go ahead and see if we can take a look. So yes, what's the monthly cost with Convex? Nobody talks about the monthly cost. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can kind of get into that while we have the plan running. So let's go ahead and see if I can do this. So in the demo, I think Ian was showing us with the demo here on X. He's basically said that it says review this PRD and create a full plan for creating an MVP of this screen recording app. So I think I want to see if I can have the agent create a full plan, or based off my full plan, see if it can actually look through my code base and implement the actual plan here. So I currently have the O3 max mode. I think, should I push it to Sonnet 4? I don't think it matters, right? I'm just going to do O3 max because O3 is really good at coding for now. We'll see. I don't know. I'm going to say review the implementation for this plan. Does that make any sense? Okay. Please review the plan and generate an implementation so that we can go ahead and wait, hold on. I'm kind of doing this backwards a little bit. Okay. Okay. I've already generated a plan and I want you to go ahead and implement the plan. That's pretty much it. And then I'm just going to reference this to-do list here, or this actual plan here that I have. Just drag it in here. Okay, cool. So I don't have to do the app file. So this is the optimized plan, and the optimized plan I did this way is so for any of your to-dos or if you have a markdown file like this, you can actually preview it by hitting this little preview button here on the side, and it pops a little preview of the markdown, which is really nice. So that way you don't have to paste it into these other places here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just let it do its thing so it starts to ruminate, and then we should be able to see it do its little to-do things. I think I have access to this feature, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure I do, but yeah, it says generating, it's thinking, it's going through. Yeah, wait, is the to-do feature available for everyone? You know, I don't even know if I have the to-do feature. I thought I did because I already have the cursor 1.2 update, but maybe? I don't even know yet. I thought I did, but like, we'll see. Yeah. Okay, so it is rolling out right now. So it's actually going through it's really good. So a lot of times people have like, I stopped using Cursor for a little while because I've been using Claude Code almost extensively. And with these latest features, I've been using Cursor more and more because I want to see how good the agent is because they keep making improvements. They ship all the time. And we're seeing it actually kind of read my files. And at each of the time it reads it, it does some type of thinking. It doesn't tell us what the thinking is, but you can see in each of these dropdowns what it's doing at all of these steps. So this is really, really interesting. I'm going to go ahead and close this second window, but I'm just trying to see. This is awesome. So right now we're using the power of O3 to do this type of thing. And I'm not using a background agent because I really want to see it happening here in real time so that we can kind of judge what's happening. So what it did, it went to my schema and it created a new attribution because I want to trigger, like, is this actually coming from, you know, if I start a campaign on Twitter and I give invite links, I want to make sure I track those in my database. So that way I know where the users signed up from, and then like which users signed up from which specific, you know, place and so forth like that. And then it creates an index here, which is really awesome. Top of the morning, fellas. Hey, how's it going? It's currently 9:35 here in California. Hopefully everyone's let me know where you're from in the chat and we'll link up, you know. It should show the thinking. I'd pay for that premium. Yes. If you use the DeepSeek models, it's an open source model from China, but they're actually hosted in the US and they're, I think, using Fireworks. And Fireworks is a US based, North American based company. And the Cursor team has a contract with them and they probably have some other providers that they're using. So they take that open model and they deploy it, they being the Fireworks or some other third party company in North America. And what's nice about that specific model is you can actually see the thinking tokens. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about what these models are doing, that's probably going to be the best way to preview that if you're thinking about, you know, wanting to see the chain of thought there. So that'd be really cool. Texas, what's happening? Yo, thanks. Welcome from Texas. This is interesting. Have you tried DeepSeek? Yes, DeepSeek is really good. I would say it's on par with Sonnet 4. And yeah, China, whatever, for this, not for this specific task, but, I have been using it though, but it's actually is pretty good. Let's see, checkout. So it's now doing this thing about the campaign and then also taking a look at my analytics. So it's created a new analytics file and this is actually on my convex database here. Let me just make my head a little bit smaller so we can kind of check out the code a little bit. And I like to review my code and see what's happening. So it's basically expecting an argument for the date range. And I think this is just for the metrics. And it's going to return active trials by the campaign and then give me a campaign source and count. Okay. So this collects when the user's campaign source is set and then filter by date range. And this is probably purely for analytics from what it looks like. I have a use subscription hook basically that will call into itself from the UI. And then this looks like it's just pulling in the campaign data so that it would be used later on in my app. Wow, look at all this thinking that it's doing. This is kind of cool. So it looks like it's now looking for specific files. It doesn't tell us it's thinking, but I just got a notification from Cursor that it's done. Implement the immediate items for the trial user upgrade. So it did the backend schema. It added the 3 optional campaign options, added the user logic, added a helper. Let me go ahead and see if I can figure out where these are. Recorded campaign attribution and redeem trial. So you can take a look at these little green things and it tells you the diffs. So in the user's TS, this is basically on the database side. I'm doing a lot of the data manipulation on my backend. So I like that it's, you know, understanding what that is. Yeah, I think this is just a linting thing as far as what it did up here. But then up here, it added, looks like it added the code. And then on my return, it just gave me all this stuff here. And then at the very bottom, update the user with the trial. So then basically what it does is it patches and sends a patch up to my database and then inserts these specific values on top of, not only is it trialing, but what code they use, which is really awesome. So I could track the code, but also the campaign and the input source. So internal mutations for campaign tracking. I like that it did an internal mutation, which means that it's only available to the app itself. It's not exposed to the client side. So this type of mutation can only be done on the back end, which is great. Get weak cohort. Okay, that's awesome. This looks pretty good so far. And then the checkout flow, let's go ahead and see the checkout. So it's using Stripe, and then checkout, it creates a checkout session with the campaign. So this is going to probably put it into the metadata for the Stripe action here. So landing app sign up. Okay. And then in the store campaign attribution for new users, this is great. So when we do an update campaign attribution, we're going to go ahead and pass these types of things in. That's cool. This is pretty handy, actually. Dang. Okay. And then as far as analytics, we have an analytics campaign tree. So the new query provides real-time counts. Let's see, get campaign metrics. Get campaign metrics, analytics, TS. Okay, this is what it created there. And then added get campaign data to use subscriptions hooks. Yes, I think that's kind of what we were looking at either earlier as well. Do command P use subscription hooks? Okay, yeah, this is the campaign data. So all the changes compile without altering existing call sites. New parameters are optional, so the current API remains functional. Let me know if you'd like to follow up the admin dashboard, integration, and UI banners. Yeah, I think what's interesting is that the entire plan wasn't necessarily followed. It just started the first phase, I think phase 1, but it didn't necessarily do the entire plan, which is, I was just kind of hoping for it to just keep going here. I noticed that it didn't really do like these to-dos like I was hoping it would do. So I'm really curious here to see kind of what's going on. Hey, Ryan, how's it going? Calling in from Connecticut. Thank you, man. That's awesome. Welcome from Connecticut. Can you share your cursor rules? Yes, I think I'll get some of these types of things posted for those who are kind of wondering here. All right, so we have these here, and I just wanted to check the diff. If you go up here into the little branch feature, it'll actually show you the code changes that it's done. So here's the code changes for the use subscription, which we were reviewing, the analytics as well. This is the new file. This is the checkout here, saying that it's doing a checkout session, and it's also going to add this type of stuff into my results. And then here's the schema, which we talked about for these new fields, which is great. It's creating some new indices for us for the campaign analytics for reference later on. And as far as users, here they are. And then I think that's there. And then this is basically some convex things. So what I do in the background is I have a tab that's open. I just run bunx convex dev. And so this will run. And if there's any actual, for those who are wondering, with convex, the entire database is written in TypeScript. And so they have this tooling built into convex, will always run. And if there's any compilation errors, for example, like you don't have the right types or something is wrong, then the database will basically not, will say, hey, you got to fix these types of things. And that's super handy because you'll always know on the fly if something is happening from the agentic standpoint. So that's kind of why I have one of those tabs running. And then when it's ready, it pushes up those functions so that they're available on the back end. And so the theory with convex is basically it will be the data store for everything. And then the front end will just be reactive. And reactive meaning whenever stuff changes in the back end, I don't have to set up extra hooks or anything. Everything will just be, basically, with the WebSocket streamed right into the front end, which is super awesome. And so if we take a look at our app, localhost 3000, do I have it here? Yeah. Okay. So let me refresh. And if I go back to /admin and then create an invite link. So start a creator trial. Let me just go ahead and create a link. Cool. Let me just grab the /invite. All right. You've been invited. You already have an active subscription. This is cool. Okay, this is awesome. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like this. Let's go to app. Mm-hmm. So if I sign out, then theoretically I should be good, right? So let me go ahead and see if I could sign out right now and then see if I could sign back in, or like without signing in, I could see if I can just try the invite link. So let me just try that invite link again. Just really curious. Sweet. Awesome. So now I can, well, I've already had the invite stuff set up, but theoretically, if I go ahead and create a new account, I could either sign in with Google or create a new account with an email. And this is just will be handled by Clerk. And then theoretically, it should be attributed in my database. So if I go to users, now I should have some new rows and stuff that figure out the attribution. So trial conversion date is up here. I have a refer, so I can see who's being referred to and what's happening there. That's pretty awesome. And then I have a campaign content, medium, and campaign name. So this migration was already done. I didn't have to write any migrations or do anything. You can see that this is kind of what happens automatically on the back end, which is really nice. It's really nice that you don't have to think about these things. And this is kind of one of my favorite things about Convex. And then when I created a new trial on my admin side, it looks like it just created the code and then it has this information up here as far as like what tier, how many days, and so forth. And then I already have a thing that deals with how many people can use it. So, if I only wanted one person to use it or wanted like 10 people, that's kind of a way that I can use it, and I can see when it gets redeemed. So this should increment when it has that stuff there. That's pretty cool. I'm going to see if I can sign in with a different email account and then see if I can kind of get that going there. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with Google and do like the OAuth flow, and then see if with the OAuth flow, I'm able to, redeem this trial account, and then I should also see it update into the UI. So basically that's kind of what I'm doing. I've actually encountered an issue. It says you've been invited, user account not found, please sign up first. So this is something new and I'm not really familiar. I think what happens is like the bug here is basically that it shouldn't matter if the user is already onboarded or not. And I think what I want to do is trace down like into the app, figuring out, why this is kind of really happening. So I should also log that as well. And so what I think I want to do is probably create a new window. And what Cursor will also let you do is like duplicate the chat. So for example, if I wanted to continue this implementation, I could just have it continue, but I'm going to duplicate this chat to kind of create a branch here. And then from here, you can see how many tokens I've already used. So O3, like theoretically, if you can do like 200, I think it's 150 or 200K tokens. Let's go ahead and see here. 200K token context window. So we've only used about, 37K. So we still have quite a bit of an overhead. So I think what I can do here is just kind of tell it kind of what issue I'm seeing and then kind of paste in that screenshot as well. So I can say, do this, and then I'm just going to go ahead and drag that image in here. And then I could just describe what the bug is. It's like, so I basically created a new invite as an admin, and then I sent the invite link to a new user, and the new user was able to sign in and create an account using that link. And then they now encounter this issue that there's no existing user in the database. This is a regression because if they aren't in the database, that's the whole point of the invite link, is that they're supposed to have a new account created and then continue on and then accept this automatically and just go right into the app with whatever plan that they have accepted as a part of the invite. So we need to have you generate to-dos and look through the various files that you need to do so that we can understand why this bug happened in the first place, and then try to see if we can debug and fix the issue. So I'm using a thing called Whisper Flow. That's what's basically allowing me to. So Whisper Flow messed up. Why did it mess up? I'm going to see if I can try to do this again. So let's see. I think I should be able to retranscribe this type of thing again. I'm going to just try to go back here. Can I, let's see, undo, retry transcript. Okay, I basically created, I don't know. I think I missed some of the stuff. Oh, I see, I messed up some of the things. Okay, so when the user is able to sign in, create account, why this bug happens. I want you to create some to-dos so that you can look through all the files and understand why this created in the first place. Okay, so this is what we're going to go ahead and do here. So I'm basically telling it in this thread here. Remember, we duplicated from the previous chat, and then now we're basically telling it to see if it can generate some to-dos. And so this will tell me, number one, if I even have this feature enabled or not, because probably I don't, which is like the whole reason why I actually started this whole live stream, but it's okay. Y'all are here with me right now, and this is the way that I would do it. Oh no, it is here. Okay, we do have the to-dos. Yes, all right, cool. Whew. Look at this. This is interesting. So locate all the code paths, trace the invitation redemption flow, reproduce the bug, decide on the fix. And so this is telling me to basically review the to-dos. I've broken the debugging process into 6 clear tasks so we can methodologically track down and fix the missing user issue. Let me know if you like any changes. Okay, cool. Man, this is awesome. Can I do anything with this? Okay, so thought for 16 seconds. All right, folks, y'all see this right here, what's happening? So I have to specifically say that keyword to do, and then we unlock the to-do power here. And so the way I'm using this workflow is you ask it to do some to-dos, but then you don't necessarily ask it to do any type of to-do. Here, we're asking it to do a specific debugging flow. And so for debugging, what you want is these specific have it think about these specific tasks that you want to do. I described the problem, I put a screenshot, and I told it exactly what flow I'm doing. And so as an engineer, you always have to think about what steps you're going to do. So I typically would go into, what files are involved, what the code is touching, start in one path and kind of work myself backwards in the stack, from creating a new user account to all these types of things. And so that type of thinking usually takes a little while to do, but we're trying to delegate that to the AI agent. And so what's really nice is in the code or in Cursor, when you tell it to do a to-do, it starts to think for itself. And then we can review this list to see if it's exactly the path that we want to do, or maybe call out specific files and then kind of tell it to go forward. The whole reason why we're doing this song and dance, ladies and gentlemen, is because you want to unlock the intelligence of these models. These models are going to do these thinking before each of these to-do phases. And at each phase of the thinking, it basically gets smarter because you start to build what they call like a context. And so that context is pretty magical because once it's chained together with all this reasoning process, all this information is now densely focused into your app so they can make a better decision on where to fix the problem. So this type of thing is really important, either in your planning stages or in your feature stages. Right now, we're using it for debugging to see where we can find this bug in our app. So that's kind of a heads up. So it says, locate your code paths so you can create a new to-dos users row. Okay, trace the invitation redemption flow. This is great. Reproduce the bug. Use the invite link. Okay, decide on a fix. Yeah. So let me know whether you like the changes to the task. Implement the fix in code. Instead of saying implement the fix, I want to change it so that instead of implementing the fix, I just want us to review everything before we implement anything. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell it that so that way it can maybe update its to-do process. It's not really clear. I would love to just go into these to-dos and just like change them, with text files, but, or by hand or rearrange them or something like that. But that's not necessarily the case. The good thing about Cursor's latest plan is basically $20 a month for the unlimited things. So then you can basically, go in and do these types of back and forth without worrying like I'm going to use 500 messages. That's kind of cool. So it says locate all code paths, create new users row to understand when the user records are. No changes until you fully reviewed the row. Flow. Okay, I've set task 1, locate all code paths, create new users row to in progress so we can begin examining logic. We'll gather findings, move to task 2. Okay, yeah, looks good. So in here, it looks like for the to-dos, not only is it in line, but they're also down here at the bottom. And it looks like we can just review them. And it looks like the in progress kind of shows up like this, which is pretty handy. This little thing about 5 files edited, this is our earlier task. Remember, we duplicated this. And so that's why it shows his files edited. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say, yes, looks good. Please continue. I'll let you cook. All right. Speaking of let me cook, big shout outs to all my recent subscribers who've just signed up. Those folks who would subscribe for free. I just got an influx of like 400 people who subscribed on YouTube, which is like really crazy, super incredible. So definitely appreciate those folks who've been hitting the like, subscribes, and sharing it with their friends, because it's been really awesome for getting people to subscribe here. But also big shout outs to the big paying members. So those folks who have kind of put out the $6.99 a month to support Ray Fernando, support the stream. Y'all are the real MVPs. And so as of right now, I'm doing like the secret invite to Discord. I have a little private Discord. And in one of my subscriber posts there on YouTube, you can actually just send me a message from one of the links. And then from there, I'll get you all set up with the Discord, and we can kind of hang out and chat and so forth. So definitely appreciate that. Let's kind of catch up a little bit with the chat while this is doing this little thinking process. Somebody asked me about my cursor rules. So I did want to share that. I have a whole GitHub repo under Ray Fernando 1337. And so in here, at the very top, I have a thing called LLM cursor rules. And in here, these are my like sort of out of date rules. I do have some stuff I need to update in there. And I'm planning to make another video where I talk about my design specs, because I actually have one specifically for design. And I think that one may be in there right now. I also have some for like optimizing rules to make sure that we kind of keep things very simple and reuse code, and not necessarily, have the AI models try to generate new code or generate APIs, because the AI models like to generate new code. And a lot of times they have a lot of trouble reviewing code. So I'm still kind of going through a workflow there. So also big shout outs to General Knowledge from Nairobi, Kenya. Love Kenya. New to Claude Code, but struggling how I make Claude Code see my browser logs and see the errors. A little guide would be helpful. A quick guide I can tell you right now is to try to see if there's an MCP that can help you here. There are a couple MCPs that are out there. I'm not exactly sure about the names right now because I haven't really been using them, but some folks in the chat, if you guys know, please reply on the YouTube thing and just kind of let General Knowledge know. I know there's some folks who are really heavy into that stuff, because that's a really important workflow for some folks there. And I need to kind of discover that a little bit more. So I was a little bit late. What was the prompt? I'll show you a little bit of the prompt above. The prompt above was just basically me just telling it to start to implement a plan for my existing app, and to tell it to see if we can add a feature. So that's kind of where we're at right here. So I'll let you cook. So what we did here was, when a user records are created, the mutation basically inserts a row into here. Okay. And then it inserts the table when the email user ID pair is not found. Okay. Yes. And who calls users external, user exists internal? Only the caller in the entire repo is at the checkout create session. No front end component invokes the wrapper user exists. Okay. A plain grep shows no other occurrence. A convex user row is created only when someone starts the Stripe checkout flow. So if a person signs up through another path following an invite link, they authenticate via clerk, but never hit that checkout action. So no user's account record exists. Redeem trial looks up the user by email. And it sees it's not found. It returns user account not found, exactly what the screenshot shows. Oh, that's awesome. I guess I vibe coded this and I didn't realize I already had this plan in place. That's awesome. I use Claude or Clerk for authentication. And so they could create themselves there, but in my convex database where I keep track of, everything there, as far as like, Stripe, what their status is, and, even the trial stuff, that's kind of where I have this gap. And I totally forgot I had this feature gap, but that's kind of why I like to document these types of things, so that later on when I tell an agent, or even when I go back to the code base, it'll take me a little while to spin up and do these types of things. But we just saw the power of, cursor, and then Claude Code would probably do the same thing. I would assume if I gave it this exact document, it would be like, hey, this is kind of missing, or it'd probably come to a similar conclusion. But it's really cool because we saw how fast Cursor did this type of task here. So step 2 is we'll trace the invite redeem flow back to the double confirm that it never calls any user creation. I'll start the investigation now and report back. Yo, this looks great. This is great. You are cooking. How's the font size, by the way? Can everyone read it? I'm going to look on the side screen. I think this is readable. But yeah, let me know if it's not readable. I can increase the font one more size. For those who are doing this here. So Can you tell it to use task tool? I also noticed that you can queue up the next steps while it's working. Yes, we can totally queue up the next steps and tell it to, do whatever we want to do. So as of now, I'm just kind of catching up with the chat and doing some stuff. Right on. Cursor hired Boris from Claude team, so I expect Cursor to start copying Claude's features and more. Copying, I don't know if it's copying is the right word, but I feel like the expertise will definitely permeate throughout the organization because a lot of these guys are already really good at what they do and they are kind of all in a similar plane. There's a difference though with what Claude Code is doing underneath the hood to what Cursor's doing. And Cursor has a lot of stuff that they have going on with their custom models and a lot of other things in the app. And Claude Code is like a little bit different and there's a lot of different hooks in different places. So I'm just extremely excited that they're even all teaming up together, if you know what I mean. It's like the best of both worlds. And so, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So, yeah, the Cursor rules in the GitHub repo, so I'll definitely get you some of that information. I'm a little behind on chat, so I'm still kind of catching up. Also, make sure you have the to-do list turned on in Cursor settings, which I definitely do. How do we just let me cook? Oh, by the way, yeah, if you wanted to go ahead and do that, just go to youtube.com/@RayFernando1337. So on my YouTube channel, there is basically a join button. I forgot to tell people about this. So if you hit the join button, that's kind of where you can do the, let me cook thing. And that's where you could just join $6.99 a month. And so maybe at the end of this live stream, what I want to do is go ahead and update the loyalty badges from the default ones to the fire emoji, and then do the fire emojis like in these different colors. I definitely want to have like a nice gold one for like the 1 year mark or 6 month mark. We'll see. But this is kind of what I can use the GPT-4o model. So yeah, let's go ahead and start cooking, friends. This would be really, really fun. I definitely appreciate all the members who've joined so far. And yeah, we have got McKay Wrigley in the building. We got a bunch of other folks. I'm going to give a shout out to some of those folks pretty soon once we're going to get this here. So step 2 so far we have is, ladies and gentlemen, the front end flow. Okay, so now we have a front end flow. Let me just go ahead and take a look here. So I have a route here for the code. And let me just go ahead and minimize the terminal and then minimize my face. Okay, so after the clerk session loads, it immediately calls API user redeem trial invite. No call is made. Oh, wow. Okay. If the mutation returns success, it redirects home and failures are displayed. Ah, okay. So the redeem trial invite mutation convex/users, the first query is the users table by the email. So if the user is not found, it just returns false with the message user cannot be found. Please sign up first. It never attempts to create a record on the fly. That's what I needed to do, is just create the record on the fly. Other places that create the user record, subscription guard in the main app, returns null. So the checkout flow calls ensure user exists internal, and the invite page does not render inside of the subscription guard. So no checkout occurs, and so the fresh invite scenario record exists. So ladies and gentlemen, long story short of kind of what's going on, because you may not have any context of what I've been building for my app here, is that basically I have this app, Ray Transcribes, and I'm planning to launch for V1. As part of this launch, I want to have these trial invite links that I send out on social media and also like on my live streams and stuff so that I can have people use my app. As of now, I don't have any free trials. So the only way you can use the app is by paying, $9.99 a month, or I think it's like $29.99 or $19.99 for the beta access, right? Beta access will have all the features and everything I'm developing live. The trial link is kind of fun because I can send these links to friends, podcasters, users who I want feedback from, and they will just put them in my app. And then when the like 7 days or however many days expire, if they really do like the app, then they can actually pay to upgrade. And that's a really big signal for me as a builder, because if they don't pay to upgrade, that means it probably wasn't that valuable to begin with. And then I can continue to work to get feedback and then try to encourage them to try again and see if they want to, pay to upgrade. And so a lot of times I find with free trials, people tend to abuse them because they'll basically sign up and then they'll create a new email and sign up with that. And they'll do that forever, right? And take advantage of things. So that doesn't give me any signal in terms of valuableness and pain points for how much people would be willing to pay. But if I do have these free trial links, it's really important. The reason why I'm encountering a bug is because I've only accounted for the app creation when somebody actually pays for me. But I've never thought about, like, when I have a free trial, what is the other code that needs to happen and what are the other features that need to happen? So if you're ever vibe coding, if you're ever coding with AI, this is the type of thing that you'll encounter, is that you come up with one feature, you'll come up with another feature, but there's this gap of integration where you're actually missing these types of flows that do need to be accounted for. And I'd say the best way to fix these bugs is to actually try to use your app like a normal user would, and then think about the flow that you need to go through to test this type of thing. So one of the secrets that I'm going to try to do at the end of this like chat conversation is to try to see if I can have it generate a documentation for testing. And so I'm going to have it say, create a testing folder, create a new document that will help us test this exact flow so that we can review this test plan again and rerun it in the future. And so this type of testing is really important, so that whenever you make new features, that you say, hey, go ahead and just start running all of these tests in my test plan folder. And then you can just assign it tasks or specific like sub agents to go do each specific testing flow and call out these types of things. So in essence, what I'm trying to do is create my own QA org by these little documents type of things. So that's going to be my hack. And that's kind of really where I'm going with this, if you know what I mean. And so we have a little PSA from Cursor down below. It says, what's new in 1.2? Web and Cursor agents. So use Cursor agents to write code, answer questions, and scaffold work from anywhere. Search pull requests seamlessly in Cursor and use branches, commits, and issues as new context, and then the to-dos feature, which is what we've been using actually. So agents plan ahead with structured task lists, making progress easy to track. That's pretty awesome. And if I hit view changelog, does that take us to any type of information here? We continue. That's awesome. Cool. So it says, agent planning, better context, faster tab. Okay, cool. Memories are now general access. PR indexing and search. So we can index and summarize this PRs much like it does with files. So what's really nice is that sometimes you have some bugs or things that have been fixed. You can just type in a search here. I guess now it's going to look back through those different PRs, which is super awesome. Look at these specs. Damn. Let agent resolve merge conflicts. Oh, that's super handy. This is actually a really, really great feature. That's awesome. So background agents, PRs. Okay, that's really, really great. Awesome. What's the monthly cost for database projects so far? It's been free. Yeah, it's totally free, which is awesome. Yeah, so I think somebody at Doom was asking about pricing for Convex, which is what I use for the database. It's basically free. And then you can have up to 6 developers for the project, which is really nice. I only have one, which is me, but that's really handy. You can have 20 projects for free. You get all of this stuff, which is awesome. So like indexes, file storage, text, all this really great stuff, amazingly free. As far as like resources and things, you have like a million function calls. You have 20 gigabytes of action compute. You have like half a gigabyte for database storage, bandwidth for a gig for free. And even if you just pay $25 a month, like look at the huge thing you gain here. So yeah, it's still free for me. It's totally perfect for MVPs. Even if you scale, this is totally scalable right now. And yeah, it also supports other language libraries, which is really awesome. And then here's like the ingress and egress. So yeah, it comes with backup and restore. This is, yeah. Here's like the cost, the function calls. Yeah. This is, yeah, there's a whole calculator for, if you do file storage, you can use them. It's pretty simple. And there's vector databases. Yeah. Another big thing about the product, I'll probably get into a little bit later. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I like to share really good stuff. So you're getting firsthand of kind of what's happening here. So they have this thing called components. And so components are basically allow you to extend your database. And so if you're going to work with resend as far as emails, all you do is just install this npm install for the Convex dev. The configuration is a couple lines to get this set up in your app. You just do this convex config ts file in your Convex database with your API key from resend. And what's nice is because someone's already wrote the code so that you don't have like these duplicate transactions. So you don't like send emails back, like if there's a failure, you don't send like 2 emails to the same person because you don't want to get flagged for spam. All of this is handled here, and it prevents a lot of like duplicate code, a lot of extra complications you would normally have with other database providers and other things. And they kind of simplify it for you, which is really, really cool. So this is kind of why, as far as like my database energy and investment and time, why I feel like this is really important for this type of application to, like to use like convex for these type of things. On top of that, they have AI agents that you can use as well. I haven't really gotten into too deep into any of this stuff, but this is kind of where I've done cron jobs, and I actually do have a cron job in my database. And then, you can do RAG as well, and you can do, quite a bit of persistence. They have a lot of cool things here that they have text streaming, which is really cool. I'm going to try to see if I can use text streaming in my app in the future. This is kind of why I looked into it. I was like, yeah, this is probably a really good place to land. Plus, like, it's extremely generous as far as like all the tiers and stuff. So yeah, really cool company, backed by I think they're backed by some pretty heavy folks. But the other part of why convex is cracked that no one tells you about is like these guys used to come from Dropbox. They did like petabytes of data, like ridiculous amounts of data and syncing. And the engineers who work there are like mind-blowingly cracked. And databases like are their passion, and they're so geeky and nerdy about it. It's like, yeah, they really cook, and I'm super hyped about what they do, and then like what they're doing for this community. I think is really, really cool. And so I'm learning as I go, and I'm just kind of sharing that. I'm by no means an expert, so just because I have a lot of followers and anything, obviously do your own diligence, and you should always question everything and try it out. I mean, it's free. So, but yeah, like I'm basically just saying, yeah, to each their own, I guess you could say. Okay, so let's go ahead and see these types of things. So like we're continuing down the debugging flow. Task 2, invite redemption path, flow, front end flow. Okay, so we've debugged this. It's missing a user row, and then have the invite page called user exists. Once the user exists, okay. And then modify the redeem invite to create a user row. So no code changes yet, just documenting the findings, ready to proceed with the remaining review tasks or dig deeper if you like more analysis. Okay, so basically it's the first query is a table. It never attempts to create a record on the fly. I think it basically just not ready to proceed. Do you think we have enough to fix the bug, or do you need to dig deeper? I'm just curious. I'm just really curious. I think we have enough to fix it, but I'm just curious to see what the agent will say. This is 03, right? So let's see up here. We've used 39,000 tokens. So we still have quite a bit of overhead. I try to monitor this thing, by the way. And at any time you can always like duplicate the chat, which is really cool. So if you want to try a different branch, for example, I just wanted to try like from this to do and say, go fix it. I could basically duplicate this chat and then just say, go fix it and see what happens. If I don't like the result, what's nice about Cursor compared to like Claude Code is that you can just say, restore the previous checkpoint. And so then you have, your code restored. And because we're using Git, by the way, you can always revert anything that you've done. So you can just say, undo or whatever. So if I wanted to stage these changes, I just stage all these changes so that way we have everything checked out. And what I'm going to go ahead and do in Cursor right now is hit generate commit message. And so the generate commit message will basically review all these changes and write a commit for everything. And it says feature, implement campaign tracking analytics. So this will basically keep track of our first implementation. I'm going to go ahead and hit commit. And so that way we'll have this available. And if something happens, we can always revert back to it. So I like to do this every so often, like pretty frequently before any code changes, especially like since we're going to try to do this type of fix. And if it doesn't work for us, we just, unstage everything. And then it's pretty much will take us back to where we were at this earlier stage of the implementation. So it's always good to practice to do that type of thing here. So we've already located the precise gap. That means we'll have all the context necessary to implement a fix. If you're comfortable choosing one of the two approaches, then we can move straight to the implementation. Double check that exists, decide whether to add a duplicate card in anyway, rather than root cause discovery. From a debugging standpoint, we've assembled everything we need. Okay. Sounds good. Let's go ahead and fix it. Cool. So it says planning the next moves. So we should be able to fix it. You provide knowledgeable material. Yeah, I'm glad I could help in some ways. I'm just, instead of coding with the camera off, I'm just coding with the camera on. It takes me a little while. I'm still kind of catching up to these messages, but definitely appreciate everyone who's been able to, drop the comments so far. I'm just kind of catching up. If you make a video, how can you convert most pixel perfect Figma to Cursor? That'd be great. let me write that down. I have some notes as far as like content ideas. I have quite a bit of, I just today started brainstorming because I know a lot of people have been dropping a lot of content ideas. I literally have like pages of notes now from everyone's comments that I'm going through. And then these are all like different videos, by the way. Each little blue task is like, you know, different things from like deploying to Convex or deploying to Vercel, deploying to Cloudflare. And I know some people were talking about like documentation folders and planning and so forth. So I'm going to add that one into the list as far as make a video to convert pixel perfect Figma to cursor. So go from, I guess that's more design oriented. So yeah, design and how to do that type of thing. So let me just kind of write that down while thing's cooking here. So design Figma to cursor. It's not a specific workflow that I do, but I know some folks in the community who do that. So I might actually bring them on to see if they can share the best practices, because I think that would be very, very helpful. So browser tools is the best MCP. Okay. Yeah, I think I have that one installed, which is super duper helpful. So use browser MCP, it works pretty perfect. So somebody earlier was encountering some issues with debugging. And so this is the MCP for those who are wondering. For those who are watching on X, we're also multi-streaming to Twitch. We're also multi-streaming to LinkedIn. And so I'm sharing this so that other folks can actually see it from the other sides as well. So for the LLM to have a browser vision is kind of what people are talking about. Yes, it's basic, but it gets the console logs and errors. Okay, so that's the only reason I use it. So browser vision is basically browser MCP. So I think that'd be a really cool video. It's just browser MCPs. So like MCPs that are useful. I think it's browser. And by the way, Convex has an MCP as well. Browser MCP. I think it's good. Yeah, browser MCP. Convex and Stripe have them. So like they're also very useful. So otherwise I use StageWise for UI changes. It also does screenshots. Okay, that's awesome. I don't like having to tell Cursor to say, go to the next task. Yeah, I mean, I probably could write a rule for this and then we'll see. So yeah, the file is being edited by another chat in users TS. Go ahead and accept. Oh, I see. Because we duplicated the chat. That's why. So now it's going to fix the bug. And so it looks like the way it's going to fix the bug for us is, let me just make myself a little bit smaller. If there is no user, attempt to create a user automatically. So like the invite flow confluence. So it's going to try to get their identity by the email, create a result, clerk user ID, and then retrieve the newly created user record for further processing. Okay, this is nice. And then now it's going to go into my users folder instead of a const. It's going to make it a let. Okay. It's cooking. It's cooking. All right. Haven't been keeping up with your lives, but what's your take on Cursor versus Claude Code? This is something that I'm still kind of cooking with right now or ruminating. I'm always like to try Cursor and Windsurf, and whenever there's a big update that comes out, I always like to get back on it and just take a look. So we're kind of watching in real time. And by the way, for those who are just watching, my name is Ray Fernando, and I like to live stream, and I used to be an engineer at Apple. And now I'm basically learning AI. So you can I'm using AI to try to generate freedom, and I'm making apps to help myself in my workflows. And the latest app I'm working is called Ray Transcribes. And so for content creators like me, I have lots of live streams, and I discovered that, you know, if I have SRT files inside of my live streams, they become instantly searchable. And so my live stream from July 1st with Claude Code hooks, like, is already ranking #1 on Google, which is insane. So within the first couple of hours of it being released, I put those, timestamps, and I put the SRT files, which is the transcripts, inside of my YouTube video. And the YouTube video was a live stream, right? And it instantly starts ranking. And I didn't realize that this is a big cheat code. And it's like, other content creators need to know this, especially if you do live streams, because you have all this data there. So yeah, I'm basically, it's a first part of the app that I'm building out, because the app is going to be extended in terms of like other features, because eventually I want to create like blog posts and YouTube shorts and other things. And so the first step you need is transcriptions. And this is kind of why I started Ray Transcribes. What I'm doing is I'm sharing as I go. So as I'm learning things with Claude Code, Cursor, and using these types of applications in my life, I use all of the AI products. I'm sharing this back in real time. So that's kind of, as of right now, Claude Code has been my go-to like for the last couple of weeks or almost a month or so. And then Cursor, I just started using again in the last week and a half to 2 weeks. And, I'm just I'm rolling it. I mean, I use Claude Code inside of Cursor. So this little like button here with the little cursor icon or the run Claude Code, that's where I run Claude Code inside of my IDE so that I can review the changes. So I use both, but as far as like this agent, the background agent thing, this is something that I've been using recently with the recent update just to see how good it is at, finding this stuff. Cursor literally copied Hotwing's code to our system. Yes, they actually did. Yo, Dazine, welcome, man. From Twitch. Oh yeah, we back. We definitely back. Yeah, this is the time I roll in. So have you checked out voice mode MCP yet? I have to check this out. Conversational coding is the future. I'm interested to check this out because this would be really interesting. I think you're probably the inventor of this. This is probably kind of why you're promoting it. But yeah. Hope that doesn't sound too spammy. It low-key does, but yeah. Hey, yo, tech friend, as a member, welcome so much. Okay, also shout outs to Mr. Frank, who celebrates the 6-month anniversary of he's like the longest YouTube subscriber. And that's kind of why maybe I want to update the badge because I want to give him the golden fire emoji for the whole chat. So like, thank you so much. Cursor is pushing so many great features. Great overview, Ray. Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank, for the support. I really deeply appreciate it. You are the real MVP of the stream, man. That's what's up. Stefano says, how to make profitable micro-SaaS web apps. More in the future. I'm going to write that down as well. I have yet to make my web app actually like profitable. And so as I learn, I will definitely share. All right. So did we fix the trial invite here? So now create a record, converts the user variable to let, added non-null narratives or assertions. So if there's no invite, where TypeScript couldn't guarantee a non-null. Okay, so let me just see. This code looks pretty good so far. Okay, yeah, if there's no invites here, then it's gonna freak out. Okay, update user with trial, increment user. And then the only question I have with this change is like, what if there's an existing user? How is this gonna work in this flow? So what I want you to do is do a comprehensive review now for 2 use cases. One is if there's no user in my database, which is what you've already fixed. But the second part is, what if there's an existing user and they're entering a trial or they want to enter a trial? It is possible that the trial can be for a class that they are already at or higher. And I already have a lot of this stuff in my convex database. So you'll need to search through the files and make sure you have those things in your context if you don't. And then I also have something in my, I think it's operations. No, in my development. I have an optimization principle, which it could reference in the future. So like optimization quick reference, feel free to leverage and then I'm just going to drag this file here. So this optimization quick reference will basically tell it a little bit about like some of the rules files that I have. And then, how they should think about using existing indexes and computing and reusing code without like actually doing this type of thing. And this is like the entire principles. It's called lever. So leverage existing patterns, extend before creating, verify through whatever. So I think I might do instead of the quick reference one, I'll just do the regular optimization principles. And then I'll just let it cook. Let's see. Okay. But this is a really long document. So we'll see if it actually reads it and actually does anything interesting. Yeah, so that's kind of the 2 flows that I'm thinking there. So yeah. The new PNG extension for lossless. What are you transcribing? Is it audio or is it your YouTube into text? It's everything actually. So let me actually demo the app right now while it's kind of going. So I have the app right here. I'm going to go to app. Okay, so I'm in the app. This is the actual plans. So this is the current failure mode. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is just go ahead and sign out really quick and show you how awesome this app is at doing its thing. So let me go ahead and sign out and then sign back in again as another user. So yeah, this is a pretty cool type of thing. Okay, here we are. All right. So what I can do is select the live stream or select the, like for example, I could select like a YouTube short. So this one is about 46 seconds. So I'm going to select this one. and go ahead and generate transcripts. So what it does is does some processing and then transcribes it in basically nearly a second. And what's nice about it is actually using the Whisper Large V3 model. So this is like the largest model, and it's the most accurate one. A lot of times people are using the most minimal one, and it doesn't get the key terms. But for me, accuracy and speed are probably the most important ones. And so this will basically grab the file and kind of do its thing there. So we could do a new transcription. I can kind of show you again. So there's that model, but there's also like the premium one. So if you have like multimodal thing, this would be like the highest quality one. And so this one may take a little bit longer, but it's still extremely fast. So Claude Sonnet. So it says Cloud Sonnet, I guess, with the way that I'm speaking. And what I'm planning to do is actually feeding it in some existing tech terms and to try to improve this. And so that's going to be coming up in future versions. But for V1, as far as like launching, I'm just trying to get this out the door. And this is already extremely accurate for most of the types, especially for all of my different like live streams. So I'll show you something. For example, like my recent live stream that I did, I think it's yesterday. So this live stream is a gigabyte, 1.16 gigabytes, and it's about 1 hour and 21 minutes. And so whenever I've done this type of transcription with pretty much any other provider, it takes forever to upload like 1 gigabyte up to their servers. And then they have to do like some processing and a bunch of other stuff. And they usually have like the slowest computers available because they don't want to pay a bunch of money for compute cost. So what I've been able to do is, from a technical standpoint, do a lot of optimizations on my end and do some like, processing and everything like that, so that this is basically as fast as possible. So basically in about like 90 seconds or less, we're going to have the entire 1 hour and 21 minute live stream, not only like, uploaded and all that stuff, but it's already going to be sent back with the entire transcription fully done. So it's super duper awesome. So now we only have like 30 seconds left. I basically overestimate so that I do a surprise and delight type of thing, but we'll have all of the transcripts in like a text file with everything done. And this is basically what I put into YouTube. So that way, YouTube, as far as an algorithm, will become instantly searchable. So we have the whole thing, text preview here. If you want this, you can copy here, but this is like, the SRT file, you have the text file, and as well as you put these into language models. But yeah, this is correctly formatted. I also have the character length enough so that like if it's an actual, you can put this on TV. Like if you want to submit this for educational content or TV stuff, this fits those standards. I also have an open source repo that kind of does something similar, but you can run the language models on your actual device. That was my other problem, is when I would run this on my device. To do this exact live stream will probably take 30 minutes to run. 20 to 30 minutes on like the best M1 Max machine. And it requires a lot of RAM, right? So here, this works on Mac, PC, everything. And you saw how fast we did this whole thing. So whenever you try to do this on another provider, it just takes forever to do, if it even does this at all, because the file could be too big. So this will work for videos. This will work for podcasts, if it's just audio files. The next feature I want to add is like YouTube links, but that'll be coming up soon. And then this is like the front end website that I built for it. So this is kind of that. Works light mode, dark mode, has like the mobile views as well, which is super awesome. So you can pay. But yeah, you see how fast that we do this type of thing. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So yeah, these are my 2 plans that I plan to have. And you can have like basically 100 hours or 50 hours, depending on how much you need. If you need more, just let me know. I'll probably give it to you for free anyways. But I plan to have like a batch processing so that even if you go over the minutes, people can still process. It just takes longer. And then you'll probably get them with less than 24 hours or something like that. So these are all the stuff that I'm going to add as far as features. So the people in the beta mode. So I haven't launched this yet. I'm about to, and this is kind of why I am wanting to use Cursor to see if I can fix the last minute invite things. But I'm pretty much almost ready to launch. So this is really exciting because this is going to be really cool. The first paying users were people who like reached out directly from my live stream and, want to actually pay me money. So I just give them a Stripe link to use this. And so they've given me a lot of valuable feedback, which has been super helpful. But this is basically the premise is that your content is already extremely valuable and that Google can't see it unless it actually has transcripts inside of it. And a lot of times those transcripts can take a week to process, especially if it's over an hour long, especially if it's over like 10 minutes long. Sometimes it could take forever. And then if it does do the transcription, it's actually not accurate, which sucks. And so I've seen some of my friends, they have like Jeep and then T or something, or curse.id or something like that. So it's like, how, come on, man. Like, but I don't, for whatever reason, Google doesn't want to like foot the bill for the really good models. And I was like, well, if you're a content creator, you can basically get first to Google search by, Claude, code, hooks, and as far as like, be the first video, be the first thing that you have listed up here. Right? This is so crazy, right? Like it's the biggest hack no one's telling you about, and you can get discovered. So that's what's up. Yeah, a little bit about that. Okay, cool. So, yeah, and I need to do some more updates in here. So, but that's kind of that here. This cooked here. Let's see what happened. What's happening, y'all? So I said, comprehensive review. If there's no user in my database, what happens? And all this other stuff. So brand new, it's fixed. The current behavior is the invite page. Overcome the error burner. No additional client side. So existing user tries to redeem an invite. Code paths involved. Current guardrails. Checks if rejects if subscription equals active. Does not check if already in a trialing state. User tier, or if user's canceled state, but still inside of this type of thing. So the potential outcomes today is the user already trialing starter receives creator invites. So this is basically upgrading the plan. Code happily overwrites the creator tier and resets current period. Probably desirable. User is already having a trialing as a creator, then receives starter invite. Code downgrades them to starter and resets expiry. Most likely not. See, this already found a bug for me. This is not what I wanted. User in canceled, left with time, still effectively paid. Passes the not active check, gets a free trial tacked on. This means a paying user could downgrade themselves to a free trial. User is already trialing. See, these are pretty bad bugs, This is kind of why we have to test these things. And it's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm using the O3 model, and it's fairly intelligent in the max mode. And it's good because it's basically helping me walk through these types of things. Especially if you're like, as a single person engineer, as a person who's writing all the code by yourself, and you're doing all the marketing and you're doing everything, you have to put on all these different hats. And sometimes you forget that these use cases aren't really fully fleshed out yet, but you want to have them like documented somewhere. So it's really important to not only ask the language model these types of things, but making sure that they're documented just like this. And then we're going to write this documentation into our app so that we can fix them in the future, right? So this is going to be really important as far as planning. And it's why it's good to have these types of conversations, right? So the users canceled okay, so the recommendation is keeping with optimization principles. Instead of new endpoints, extend the redeem invite trial with additional guards. Treat still paid to cancel. So because I had this document as far as how things should be optimized, it's sort of now reviewing its plan, which is super awesome. Typically, language models would say, hey, I want to fix your bug. I'm going to add new code. And that's kind of where we get in trouble a little bit. So this type of optimization is going to be key. And I'm actually planning to have a video on the exact optimization and the exact script up there. This entire file, because it's a really long file. And I want to show you how I can use it. You've already seen a little bit of how I use it. So I want to make sure I have this file available, and I'll have a blog post available on that coming later. My members will definitely get this first. So if you're a YouTube member, or if you're a member on X, I'm going to have, that video is going to be released, and you'll be able to get those files first and everything like that. As a thank you for those people who support the channel and so forth. It does take a lot of time, but I want to make sure that I get those people taken care of first. And so that'll be what's up. So instead of new endpoints, extend, okay, this looks great. Prevent the downgrade from higher tier levels. I like this. I think I want to understand if this is going to be happening in my backend. Yes. Okay. This is great. So a lot of times you also want to be sure my source of truth is in the backend. And if I start seeing files being written to the front end, see, the way I know it's because it says it's listed here in convex under users right here. This is kind of why I want to make sure that this like logic and everything like that is back there, because the front end is not going to do any type of, figuring this stuff out, which is kind of the way I want these things. So decide whether retrialing should extend the time. Easiest is to allow only one trial per user if subscription started equals trialing. So reject the outright invite outright, a one-line guard. If you do want to extend, making sure that your max You max the dates rather than. Okay. I think what I could do for now is just make it really simple. Yeah. This plan looks really good. And I think what we should do is just reject the invite outright so that only one trial per user. Yeah. That way, like, simpler is always better. So just kind of reminding the system of what we want to do. So reuse existing helper, avoid new logic duplication. So eliminate duplication. The change touches a single mutation, adds no new tables, queries, components, hooks, well within the optimization. Let me know which of the above rules you'd like to enforce, and I can apply the minimal code. Okay, so I think treat still paid cancel users as active, prevent downgrade from higher tiers. Decide whether retrialing. Okay. Let's go ahead and just go. Cool. That's awesome. So auth flows are like a tongue twister for your brain. Auth is so crazy. Yeah. Auth is kind of, it's crazy in a lot of different ways because, like, you know, getting a user in your app is one thing, but then taking them through the rest of the flow, whether they're paid, whether they're a trial, adds a lot more complications. And then it adds even more complications the more plans you have, or it can, you know what I mean? There's probably a simpler way to do this, but if someone knows, please let me know. It's like, I'm probably just over engineering it, but I don't know. I like to make sure these details are here because I really feel like having a good experience to log in and pay, and, you know, I want to charge a premium price. I feel like that should, like, I want it to feel like it's actually thoughtful and not like vibe coded and I'm like giving away all of the security or something like that. So what LLM am I using for that? I'm using several. So I think Whisper is like the main language model. Yeah. Just installed and tried browser MCP and Claude Code. It's legit. It's testing a complex multi-step wizard right now. Awesome. I'm so glad people are getting value from this live stream. This is so awesome. Like that people are able to share in the chat and that everyone's kind of, you know, sharing their experience here. This is really nice. I like the testimonial section and animations. Thanks, man. Release notes for 1.2 are out. Small explanation video. Oh yeah, that's cool. I found bugs like this in my subscription flow as well. Ray Transcribes V2 looks great. The front end looks like it has some nice magic UI components. It does. It does. It does. It does. It's so awesome. Yeah. I found bugs in my subscription flow like this as well, working on them today. That's awesome. How's the architecture set up? Do you use something specific for compute and production? Would be great to see the setup integrations. I might make a whole different video on the architecture for this type of thing because it's basically a simple API call. And then I'm using Cloudflare specifically because of me being able to set up a node environment with the WebSockets to be big enough to stream over the file because I want to make it as fast as possible. So Vercel only let me have a WebSocket open because it was serverless at the time of like, I think it was like 3 to 5 megabytes, and anything bigger than that, I couldn't do anything. So I tried chunking the files, and I would have like huge amounts of chunks, you know, to keep track of. And then if there was a failure, it was kind of like getting really, really complicated, really messy unnecessarily. It's like, this is just a node server. I can run a MacBook as a node server at my house and do this, you know? And I was like, I want a server. And so Cloudflare kind of was able to kind of get me that solution a little bit on the edge, which makes it super fast. So you're basically streaming into like an edge, like wherever you are in the world, you're hitting an endpoint there, and then a WebSocket is open to do some work, which is super awesome. And I don't have to have these tiny files chunked. But yeah, I'll do a different video on that. I get really nerdy on this type of stuff, so that'd be really cool. Are you on the $20 a month or the $200 currently plan? So I'm currently on the $20 a month plan. I spend $200 a month currently on the max plan. I also spend $200 a month on O3 Pro or whatever, and or ChatGPT Pro, like the Pro account. So I think those are kind of like my two. I still need to make some money, homie. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like I might upgrade if I feel like there's a lot of value. I'm using more of the cursor services. And if this is going to become a big part of my workflow, like for example, if I can get background agents to leverage these to do things, and so that as I'm walking and talking, I could just give background agents tasks. See, with Claude Code, I have to be there in the terminal typing. But a lot of times I just want to be out and about on my phone, which is usually what I'm doing, walking or whatever. So if I'm just able to do this workflow which is what I'm doing in Claude Code, in the background with cursor, review this stuff, and then just ship. You see how the money kind of flows that way? It's like, if I'm going to use the Sonnet stuff anyways, it is what it is. But, it's just so hard. It's so hard. There's a lot of stuff going on. So an architecture would be amazing. Hey, hello from South Africa. Awesome, man. Dude, thank you for watching from South Africa. It's probably pretty late there right now. Let's see. Okay, plan looks good. So disallow trials or redemption while in subscription mode. Okay, so if the user subscription status is, we're just going to say you already have an active trial. Okay. Trialing. Yeah, so disable multiple trials. Okay, so this was basically saying if they have a trial, they're not allowed to do another trial or downgrade to another trial. So that way, like if there's multiple redemption things. So implemented new guard. So redeem trial now immediately rejects if a user's subscription status is trialing, returning you already have a trial. Keeps the existing active subscription rejection. Enforces one trial per user, remaining the smallest possible change. Extends the existing mutation. Okay, and then how are we going to deal with the upgrade and downgrades? How are we going to deal with if the user is already a paying subscriber and then they click the invite trial link? I feel like I would like to have them try a higher version of their plan, if you know what I mean. Also, it's possible that users were initially on a plan and their plan is expired or they canceled, and then I want them to get back on a trial, for example, to try again. And, whatever the invite link is, I think it should work, right? But I want you to do a full review here to make sure everything works. So let's go ahead and see if that will take a look for us. It should theoretically do it, but I just want to have an additional check according to what I see here. So like we have our code here. This is pretty much the only code that has changed. Let me just do this quick review of the code before we do anything else. Check if a user has an active subscription. So it creates a mutation for ensuring an action a user exists in internal. Great. Retrieve the newly created user record. Okay. This looks good. All right. Awesome. Sweet. Put your laptop in your backpack and your headphones in your ears. Claude Code can tell you when it's finished. Yeah. You need a beta tester link. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm planning. Trust me. I will have some posts up on X when I have this app, like when they have the trialing working, because this is definitely a feature that I'm going to, like, my goal is by the end of this weekend, maybe by my birthday. So like my birthday is on the 5th in a couple of days. And so maybe we'll get this working by my birthday, because I want to have like V2 launched, and I'll probably just do an all day stream of my birthday, like birthday launch, right? So that'd be really cool. My mom's going to come over and going to make some dinner, which is really cool. So let me know. Link. Yeah. Sorry. The dyslexia thing is like, I always skip characters. So I read that as link, Yeah. Advanced happy birthday. Don Vito, what's going on, man? Thanks. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the love. So cool. So, all right, let's see what's going on here. So the full review for the invite redemption after your last results. So users row is already fixed. Subscriptions trialing now rejected for one trial. And as far as like the subscription status, if people's paid, 2 sub cases. So if the current tier is less, the invite tier is higher. It will allow the upgrade trial. So we're basically allowing them to upgrade and try the new trial. If the current tier is higher and then the invite tier is lower, then it'll just ignore / reject it. So it's going to do a subscription status check and check if it's canceled, inactive, or past due, and treat like a fresh user. So it's going to invite, may start a new trial regardless of tier. And then where the code stands right now, as far as like redeem trial in my users database, it rejects only a trialing user and an active user and does not differentiate by tier. Okay. Stripe upgrade logic already exists, but does not support a free trial period, right? Yeah, I don't want the free trials to come from Stripe. Price lookups, because I don't have any free trials actually. The free trials will only just be through like invites. And then the price lookup helpers are this API here, which I have get price for plan. So this is actually a query that looks up in my database for the plans. And so it gives us the correct price ID for the billing combo. So the recommended minimal adjustments keeps with flavor. This is why I wrote out that file and gave it to Cursor at the time. And I didn't necessarily have it as a rules file, is because, you know, keeps kind of the tokens minimal until we actually need these types of things. So this is kind of what it's going to go ahead and do. So it's going to extend the redeem invite branching here. So I have code that deals with to check if it invites valid or expires at. And this is kind of what we've already added here. So what I think it's going to do is if a user subscription is active, it's going to basically do a ranking of like, what's the tier ranking? And it's just going to say is it a starter or not? If it's not a starter, then it's a different tier. It says invite tier must be exceed your plan. That's basically what the code says. Add an internal action to perform an upgrade with free trial. Accept the subscription ID. Call this. Keep it $0 during the trial. Yes. Reuse the existing update subscription by adding trial days. Ooh, I like this. Yes. Yes. Maintain minimal code reuse. In the redeem trial, we hit the active but upgrade allowed. Look up and then patch the new user. Okay, this looks good. One of the things that I've kind of liked about the intelligence here is I would typically have to describe all of these steps one by one, but the model, especially O3, seems to be really, really smart using with Cursor here. And it seems to still have everything in the context. So I'm not really having to redescribe and saying, okay, what about this in the front end? What about this file on the back end? We only loaded this up once. We duplicated the chat and we started to kind of go down this path of debugging. And I kind of like it so far. I mean, I've been really enjoying this flow. This has been really nice. Obviously, I'll probably move a lot faster if I wasn't like reading this stuff out loud, but this is looking really, really good. I like the vibe of this type of thing. Why this stays optimized, only one mutation, which is redeem invite trial, and one action gets tiny extensions. So there's no new tables, no hooks or UI components. I love this. Stripe upgrade logic is centralized. Other features like the plan switching from settings will get the free trial capability for free. And this allows for extending and reuse existing patterns for optimizations. Let me know if you'd like to implement the exact code. They'll touch fewer than 30 lines total. This is amazing. Man, okay, I got to share this file because I know people have been asking for it. And let me put this in my Git repo right now because y'all who stayed this long, if you stayed, it's an hour, 17 minutes. If you've been staying since the beginning of this chat, I need you to drop a comment and let me know if you actually want this optimization principles file right now so you don't have to wait for my video. And if you're watching at this specific moment, in order for you to get this, you have to share this with a friend. So that way they can find this specific file and you can actually get them this type of thing here. So this is this. You see how powerful this optimization principle is for your code base? Like this is like giving it to like a principal engineer to have it review and go through your code. Like I didn't have to like map multiple files and do this. This is one specific file that it's reading through and looking through the code. And so, wow, this is so cool, man. This is insane. All right. This is so good. Okay. Yeah, let me just drop this file. All right, let's do this right now. I'm gonna do GitHub. This is so crazy. Yes, please. Let's get it. Yes. This would be so cool to use. Awesome. Yeah, I think we need this right now. We need this. This is so fire. All right, so let's go ahead and go to my what is my thing? My profile. And LLM cursor rules. And in here, I'm just going to go ahead and add a file, optimization principles. Actually, why don't I just upload the file? Upload file. Whoops. Add file, upload files. Drag and drop the file. Whoops. Here. Drag it up in here. Optimization principles. Commit changes. Let me cook with AI, please. This will be my commit. I'm just going to YOLO commit to the main branch because that's what I do. I own this repo. All right, so we get this file right here in the, I'm going to drop this in the chat. And if you don't see this in the chat right now, this is kind of what you get. So this is the exact repo down below. Let me go to, let me make this even easier for anyone who's like kind of doing this type of thing here. So let me just do this here. So dev.co. I'm going to create a link. I'm going to say cooking rules. Cooking. I'm just going to say cooking. Yeah. Okay. So cool. That'd be really cool. Can I get this QR code? Yeah, I'm gonna download this QR code. Download QR code. That's JPEG. All right, cool. Save changes. All right, create link. So here's an even easier link for those who are wondering. Yeah, some people got it. I know some people are watching on TV, so I want to get you folks who are watching on TV so you don't have to like fumble with your phone or anything. I'm gonna leave this right here for a sec while those people are still getting it. And then I'm going to put this on the screen so you can even have it easier. So I have a URL shortener. It's called rfer.me. And what's great about rfer.me/cooking is that it'll exactly take you to this GitHub repo. So all you have to do is just drop a star right at it. We got 459 stars. Let's go. It's my biggest like non-code starred repo. But up in here, and let me get this QR code back in the mix here. If you scan this QR code with your phone, which I should be able to do too, let's go ahead and scan this. Scan. You tap that thing, scan it. Let's go. Are we cooking, fam? We are so cooking right now. Yes. Okay. You'll be able to get right to this repo. This is kind of, I love this app. All right. So in here, you'll actually get the optimization principles that I called out. And so what you want to do is once you see, you even see like, oh, the mermaid diagram. Let's go. This is sick. This is how, oh man, I'm so blown away right now. This is so good. This is too good, man. This is, yep. This calls out everything. You see how good it is. I'm using this with convex, by the way. So this is kind of why this is in here. And so what you'll want to do and how, like, there's a way to actually kind of make this so that it works for your repo. And what you want to go ahead and do is just go ahead, like either go to raw or hit this little copy thing. So copy raw file, we'll copy the entire raw file. Or if you go to raw, it'll just give you the raw markdown. And so what you want to do is get this file and put it into your, like, create a new chat and say, this is an example of a rules file. And this is really good at optimizing these. I want to use these optimization principles in my repo and use this example to create an optimization principles rules file for this specific repo. And this is the current rules for reference. And so I want you to output this rules file as a markdown, similar to the way that this is, currently at. And here's the example. Bloop, all right. And then you paste that in either your Claude code, your favorite language model, something that has a lot of token and context window. I like Claude code because or cursor, right? Anything with an agent. If you have augment code, you can go ahead and use that. It's going to work through and read all your different code files. And then it's going to have that optimization principle like rules file as a reference. And it's basically, you're going to have your own custom version of this file specifically for your repo. And so you'll want to use that over and over again. As you can see, whenever you're adding new features, you'll always want to reference that optimization rules file because you're seeing what we're having, like this is the unlock, is like, this is the recipe you give to your agent every time. And just by giving it that one file, like it's always keeping it in that chat context. And so whenever we create a new chat window, after we do a debugging session and I'm going to either implement a plan or implement a code, I'm always going to add this file in and like make sure that you follow these principles when you are doing the review for the implementation of your code. And then you're going to get all of that magic sauce unlocked and your LLM is going to be like singing. And you're also not going to recreate this new code that you have to debug, because that's not what you want right now. So that's what's up. Hello. Happy cooking. Thanks, Igor. Definitely. Thanks a bunch, everyone, for tuning in. This is just a magical moment right now. This is really fun. I love this type of AI coding. If I can get, an AI agent to basically cook for me, why not, right? Like that's the whole point of AI. I'm trying to use AI to gain freedom. I'm using AI to make this app for me. I'm using AI to like learn from, and it's teaching me a little bit more. I'm by no means like, I don't know if you know this, but I don't really know how to code. I know how to like architect apps and stuff. I know how to like test things, but like I wouldn't say like I'm a expert TypeScript person. Like I'm not a web dev guy. I'm learning web dev. I've been learning web dev for the last, couple of years. And I worked on backend stuff, but not necessarily, at this level at all. So React is very new to me. TypeScript is very new to me. Next.js is very new to me. All this stuff is really new to me. And what this means is that you can use AI to help you get there. And you're going to just leverage some of these basic principles. But they're applicable no matter what programming language you're using, right? So that's the whole point. All right, let's see. Did we optimize things? I don't even remember where we left off. So how are we going to deal with the user? Okay, what stays optimized? Let me know if you'd like to implement these changes. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yes, please implement them. Yeah, I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just stage these changes so we're aware of any new changes in the future. And if we don't like them, we can always reject them. All right, so they're going. Cool. What tech stack do you use at Apple? Depending on the teams. So like most people wrote stuff in Objective-C. If you worked with the kernel, you probably did stuff in C. If you did like embedded firmware, there's like a bunch of other things, if you worked with like different embedded like systems, for example, like for Apple Pay. And if you worked with like any types of things like that, there's like these little Java applets that you would use for like backend stuff, I mean, everything else, like sort of industry standard, some Swifty things that people have, build systems with scripts, Shell, Perl, Python. I think, what did I do? I did a lot of random things. I did less coding over as I aged. Yeah, that's what's up. Aman, hello. Welcome. Yeah, welcome to the stream. What we're doing now is kind of checking out, just to recap for those who are just joining in, we're checking out the new cursor to do feature. And basically what's going on with the cursor to do feature is that you have to explicitly call out the to do function. And what the to do function did for us was it actually kind of spelled out in a lot of details how to debug something, because I had a debugging problem. And by telling it explicitly that like, I want you to do this thing and make sure you log everything into the to-dos, it was able to kind of think about what our problem was and then kind of list that out for us. And then we're still in the actual, to do like implementation here. And let me see if I can load some of the older messages so you can see what our prompts were. We go way back actually. And so at first I said, we've already generated a plan to implement a new feature. So I wanted to go ahead and see if I can implement the plan. And it didn't generate any to-dos from this, which I thought it was. And so I tested the flow and I had a bug, and I basically told it, say, I want you to create some to-dos so that you can track and look through all the files and understand why this bug happened in the first place, and try to see if we can actually debug and fix the issue. And so from here, that's when it created these to-dos. We reviewed them, I went through some iterations, and then we continued on and so forth. So the power of this was the fact that we're able to leverage the to-dos, because at each single step, the language model is going to do some additional thinking, and it's sort of like a checkpoint for itself. It stops right there. And then we can, go back and forth. And the secondary piece was not only did we reference the to-dos, but we had this optimization piece that I already had. So I have a sort of like a rules file, but that optimization piece is kind of what I put in, because it has everything else in its context, and it's now able to, use that sauce so it doesn't like try to like create new code and go off the deep end, if you know what I mean. So that's what's up. Hey guys, is it better to use Claude Code integrated into VS Studio Code or inside of Cursor? It depends on your preference. I like using Cursor. Cursor is extremely powerful, so that's kind of the way that I do it. I love the docs folder structure. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that's actually something that I had Cursor or Claude Code do. So let me just show you really quick and kind of get out of the way. And so in here, I basically just told it, I had plans and had all these different things. And I basically just had it say, hey, I have all these documents. Can you help review these and organize it? And so Claude Code basically created the structure for me. Because I would always put things into / documentation. It was just kind of bugging me that I had so much stuff out of organized. So it's really good at just telling it to, do stuff for you and just, start to get better organized on your behalf, which is really nice. These days, it's better to use AI to learn coding or to learn AI so you can code with it. I think they're both the same. The truth is, like, you as a person will want to grow. And it's not always clear, like, where... I think there's a meme for this. And so the meme is, have you ever gone parking and there's like 20 different signs and it says you can't park here if it's a Tuesday, but if it's a third Tuesday, you can, but if it's a blue moon, you can't, da, 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 da. And there's like 15 different signs. Like, that's the world right now with AI. So with AI, like, there's so much information being thrown at you, but you don't know where to look, right? So depending on your journey and whatever you're doing, you need to kind of like use a system to help you kind of make sure that you're on the right path and you can even park there for that given day and time, right? So the AI is like your tool to kind of read through that and say, okay, like, this is the right day, this is the right time. Yes, you can do whatever you need to do. And you always want to use AI to kind of help you with that next step and kind of sort out this crazy world of information that's everywhere, right? All these signposts are going to have all these signs everywhere. It's so confusing. But if you have an intention, you're like, I want to be a business person. I want to learn how to launch an app. I've never done this before. How can I take the next step? AI can help you do that, right? If you use Google, it'll just take you longer, right? You'll have a bunch of blue links. You have to click each one. You then have to go seek information on YouTube. You have to go talk to people. You go talk to business owners. I mean, you still have to do that anyways because you want to check your sources. But with AI, it can speed up that process. And by the time you go meet a mentor, you have at least enough background and enough information to ask them some interestingly good questions, right? So you don't want to waste their resources. And so that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. And code is the same way, right? So like, I'm learning to code. I'm learning to do these types of things so that I know enough to say, hey, this already looks like a wrong implementation. Please stop. So I'm going to stop this thing right now, right? So that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about it. And it's like, dude, why are you going off the guardrails, Mr. Please implement them and be sure to follow. I have a convex rules file. So rules, convex rules. And I'm going to go ahead and hit this. I'm going to say, go ahead and continue to revert because it's just going off the deep end for whatever reason. And we're at 69,000 tokens. Okay, it should know this. If not, I can also try to have it do its other type of thing. I don't like when it's like forcefully writing these, like it's TypeScript and there's a way to do these types of things. And sometimes I feel like the model is extremely wanting to please and get you the result. But if it starts to do like, just ignore these any files and ignore all this and like, don't worry about it. So it's like, might as well just write it not in TypeScript, right? So that's kind of what it is. So PA Learner, how's it going? My current issue is Claude, cursor Claude lies. As you said, rules are important. Checking the outcome is important. Yes, exactly. Yes, definitely. I think it's always good to understand the architecture so you can understand the context of feeding into the AI. Definitely. Yeah, you learn this by doing, right? So I learned by doing, by the way. I prefer the learning side. The signposts are a good analogy. It's too much at times. Yep, for sure. Yeah. I would say just always kind of work with whomever you can and whatever you can do to get the stuff that you need to get here. So it's currently 11:02 and I should probably get some food soon, but like, let's see what's going on. Planning next moves. Dude, did we just cook cursor so hard that it just kind of had to stop? Generating? Yo. I think we burnt cursor out. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I built standards files for every agent to read before starting on tasks. Does the more standards read up front take too much limited? It can. Yeah. Sometimes it can. So yeah, that's why I'm curious to try. I'm trying different techniques all the time, by the way. It doesn't mean that one way is better than the other. For me, less is more, if you know what I mean. So like, If I can get the same result giving it less information, that just means that something got smarter on one side. I don't know why sometimes, but then that's kind of how I learn too. So I'm happy to live in this day and age. Same here. This is what a time to be alive. You know what I mean? Like we can create on the fly as we're thinking, which is crazy, right? And like any information you've ever had about the world, you can get, you know? So for me, it's really cool. Yeah, I'm really curious why this said any. Yeah, it's okay. So what's going on here in Stripe? It's doing a trial days and it's basically referencing, yeah, it's passing in the trial days. It shouldn't be passing this in because we should have some information about trial day periods. Update params. So it's subscription params. Where is it getting from? Interface. Add updates subscription params. Yeah, this already has an interface. Huh. Wow. Okay. Reject if it does not exceed the current tier, right? Perform an in-place subscription upgrade with free trial. Scrap subscription not found for user, yes. Fetch price ID for new tier, keeping existing billing period. I don't think I liked some of these features. Let's see. Reject if invite does not exceed. Call Stripe subscription to update trial. I don't think this makes any sense. This doesn't make sense with the Stripe thing. As this isn't a Stripe trial, this is a link trial, and we are guarding it via the database. Yeah. What subscription do you use in Cursor? I just have the $20 a month pro plan is kind of what I have in Cursor. So yeah, that's what's up. Oh, it's interesting. All right. So yeah, for those who are wondering kind of what's going on so far, we've done the trial thing. I have my database up. This is like the front end part that I have for the app. This is Ray Transcribes. And basically the whole goal of it is to be able to transcribe your videos and so forth. But the reason is I discovered that if you actually have transcripts in your videos, you start to rank super fast before anyone else on YouTube. And so that's the super secret key. YouTube is so impacted with millions of videos being uploaded every day. And not only like millions, like hundreds of thousands being uploaded like every second to YouTube, that your video is in a queue for processing for getting the transcripts. By the time the transcripts are processed, they're also not really that accurate. But the key of Google is Google can't see video. Google is extremely fast at processing text. And so they have an API, obviously, because Google and YouTube are the same, or they're owned by the same parent company. Google is actively indexing YouTube videos. And so whenever you have your transcripts inside of a YouTube video, you instantly start getting ranked, especially when people start searching for new features. So whenever I do live stream on any trending topics, that's actually your way to the top of the YouTube, of the Google algorithm. Not only Google, but Bing and every other search provider, because AI is an actual thing now. And so when I did a thing about Windsurf Wave 9, guess whose video started showing up? Guess whose video right now is showing up still? Claude Code Hooks. At the top of Google search, right? So whenever you do Google search for like the videos, and even like my shorts, like that's what's crazy, right? Like a day ago, like over this guy, it's like 2 days ago, right? Yeah. And people are clicking it and they're watching it and everything like that, which is really, really crazy. But that's the biggest unlock to me. It's like, as a content creator, you know, I have these, if your video is longer than like, 10 minutes or 5 minutes, then your processing time, you go further back in the queue. They're like, you're getting way behind. The quality of the transcription is also much lower. So then words will, from YouTube's transcription, they don't use the best model, which sucks. So then you'll have these terms that are like misspelled. So people are actually searching for them. They're going to use cursor IDE, not cursor.i.d, or they're not going to type in GPT, you know, they're going to type in GPT into the Google search bar. And then your video doesn't get pulled up because your transcripts aren't actually accurate. And so this is the thing that I discovered. And I was like, we need to, like, more content creators need to know about this type of rule. And so that's why I created this app, because I feel like, you know, we as content creators need this. And I open source this on GitHub. So if you want to go to my GitHub, I also have this open source as well. It's called the Apple MLX Video Transcriber. There's like 400 plus stars on it. The only downside to this is the fact that, you know, you have to download the language model and you need a pretty fast machine. So if you have like the best M1 MacBook Pro, this can take you 20 to 30 minutes to run the V3 large language model, the large model, for like an hour plus stream. So that's like super long, and this only works on the Mac, right? So if you want to get this working on a PC, you have to install Python. Like it's kind of a mess. So a lot of people asked for a web version of this, and this is kind of why I created this app, is because now you can do this extremely fast. So just show you a quick demo. Like I have like a YouTube short or something I can show you. Even like a 1 hour stream, we just did it. It just did like less than 90 seconds to do everything. Typically when you're doing other stuff like on other transcribers, you'd have to like upload it. It takes forever. You know, I worked on making sure the optimizations and everything. So this is probably like one of the fastest transcribers ever available. But that's not the reason why you want to get it. The reason why you want to use it is because you want your stuff to be like out there on Google as fast as possible. So in the future, for people who sign up for the beta, you'll get first access to the YouTube link stuff that I'm going to drop, timestamps, blog posts, batch processing, and a whole bunch more stuff. So this is not yet launched. I'm still going to launch this. And right now, people who have been paying me, if they just go to raytranscribes.com, I currently have a plan. This is just early access people, and I was just doing an onboarding by hand. So this is the way that people were able to kind of sign up and start using my app. So I got about like 5 paying subscribers this way. And I know more people will need to do this, but I wanted to make sure I have everything all set up because I want to have free trials and all these other things. So this is pretty cool. But yeah, as of now, this is kind of what it looks like. People can, you know, within this app here, do the type of things. Works with light mode and dark mode for those wondering, you know, is it only light mode only? It's like, no, it works light mode, dark mode. Works on mobile, Mac, PC, pretty much anything you want. So yeah, I got the whole thing on lock, and that's kind of what we've been building feature-wise. I was just trying to nail down the app itself as far as like invites and getting that to work. So this is kind of where we're at with this type of thing. We'll treat invite as convex only promotional upgrade. Yes, the promo is active. So what I find really interesting, especially with the approach here, is the fact that it's been taking so long for it to do its thing with O3 in the database. So yeah, I might take a look at this a little bit more in terms of like, are we feature complete in this whole stream? Did we like actually 10x like I promised in my screenshot? I'm actually disappointed to say that no, we kind of created some more trouble, you know? Or one of the things that sometimes I don't know, like I feel like AI can easily overpromise things here. And I feel like I had a plan. I was going to give it a cursor. I wanted to do its thing. And like, was it more effective? Was it easier? Yes and no. You know, the to-dos definitely helped it with some like helping me kind of get some clarity as far as steps and chunks of things that we're doing. If we look at our to-dos, we're at number 5 of the 6. It didn't necessarily go in order. Some of these are still kind of floating. I don't know exactly why. And I don't know if it's because I don't know exactly why it's actually has these two, because this is only one chat window dealing with the to-dos. So some of them are still running and some of them aren't. I don't know what would mark a to-do as complete or not. I can't click them or anything. It doesn't give me any type of insight here. So yeah, somehow it's decided that it's stuck on this one and also still stuck on here. So yeah, did it? I don't know. To me, it feels like it created more of a headache than it did anything. And I think this is just a first pass on it. It's not necessarily saying that you should or shouldn't use it. Everyone's going to have a different result. And I feel like, please use it. Please tell me what flows you're doing, because I want to learn from you too. Part of the reason why I do these live streams is because other people can learn from my workflows. And it's just easier to explain in a live stream over like a blog post. Sometimes it's even easier from a form of video. But if you're interested in actually looking at, shorter form videos, part of the membership that people sign up for here is, I'm basically trying to hire an editor so that they can go through and help me. So when I finish my live streams, they'll be able to cut up the stream and make shorter clips of these. I'm going to be doing these types of clips by hand for now. And I try to have my brother, I try to get him a laptop and see if he can edit. He's learning to do video editing right now, but I think that could be very helpful for folks. So any of the support that people provide, supporting the channel by going to, just go to my YouTube channel, Ray Fernando 1337. At the very top, there's like a little join button, and you can join to become a member. And this is basically going to the kitty to make sure I can hire an editor to work full time, so that we can kind of get some of this content like chopped up and available for you. Because consuming an hour plus live stream or 2 hours live stream can be pretty intense for folks, and it's not necessarily always the easiest type of thing. But I do actually have some videos if people are interested in it, as far as like how when I hired an editor previously, kind of what that looks like. So the videos come down to like from a 3-hour live stream to basically 11 minutes. And this is an exact live stream that I did with full on straight up like editing. So like they do like full on really cool stuff. So I do like these editors and stuff, but it does cost quite a bit of money to do these types of things. And it's not something right now I'm just kind of trying to get more people connected in the community and kind of, doing these type of things. How long have you developed in this YouTube transcription? Minimum last 6 months, maybe more. Igor, I actually started this. This is my first app I vibe coded. Basically, I'll show you on my stream. So on my stream, let's see if I go back. This is something I actually live stream building like literally in August of 2024. So last year, so like almost a year ago, we're almost at the year mark. And so this is the first time, I think this is a $1 million app. So this is 8 months ago. And so the code stream was done, launch an app. So let's see, I think the first stream was this. So let's see, 40x faster updating app. Yeah, so I think it was literally this, Claude Sonnet. So this kicked off my whole streaming career, if anyone's talking about this. So yeah, a little bit of history of kind of getting into this right now. So if you wanted to see like my original video, I'm going to link this into the chat right now so people can go check this out. So this is actually what started it off. 10 months ago, basically we went from app idea of like what we want to do as far as like an app, using Claude Sonnet to make an app. And so I think it was either this one. No, it's the next one. V0. Yeah, it was the next one. Yeah. So this was a timestamp generator. No, it was the next one, I think. Oh yeah, transcription app. This is it. Chat with transcripts. Was it this one? So 10 months ago was when I came up with like, showing people how to code. I was like, this is like the AI coding revolution. This is actually before the keyword of vibe coding was coined. And so I basically was showing people like, this is how I build apps. This is actually, you can use AI, you can use V0 to help you make an app. And this is kind of like, the first foray into like vibe coding. And so people are like, oh my God, this is actually really good. And it's like, yeah, this is actually really good. So yeah, here we go. I think this is the building the transcript app live. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, that was basically the time I started to build the app. And then I think from there, I just kind of was just using it as my own internal tool. And it wasn't until very recently that somebody made me aware that like, all of my videos were instantly becoming searchable online. And so I said, man, that's really, really cool. Like I want to share that back with other people, because like, I think other people should be able to get this type of thing. And that's kind of where I started to take this a little more seriously. It's like, I also want to be an entrepreneur and launch an apps. So that'll be what's up. Also, Mr. Frank was like, Mr. Frank, yeah, 6 months ago was like, I was there. I remember OG Ray in the living room in Hawaii. Yeah. Frank was there. And he was like, I think one of my first members, because I only had like not even 300 subscribers. I had like 100 subscribers on YouTube. So that video blew up. Like I got I think 1,000 watch hours overnight plus like 2,000 subscribers or something. And that was kind of what allowed me to turn on memberships and stuff, which was really, really cool. So y'all are the real MVPs, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's what's up. The idea of the front end only dev is a rule that's definitely diminishing. Yes, for sure. That's has nothing to do with AI, but it's already happening simply because React switched to server side first. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I do remember people were only front end or back end devs. How about full stack plus Web3? I don't do Web3 stuff currently, but that could be really interesting. Hola, buenas. That's why I started following you. Apple background and early AI tools user. That's awesome, man. You've been OG. Yeah. Yeah. I purposely don't talk a lot about Apple stuff because I want to learn new stuff. And to be honest, all of the new AI frameworks are all in like on the web right now. So like if you can like talk to a server, if you can do tasks on the server, you can interact, get authentication. Those are like a bigger deal. Plus, if you can take payments on the web, you eliminate that 30% cut right off the top. Why not, right? Like if you make 100K, 30K is going to Apple. Nah, fam. Nah, I ain't trying to do that. I subbed. Happy to follow along. Thank you, Aman. Thank you, Damon. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was like, the web to me could be more valuable as far as like a return on my time. And then that's where I also find out these language models. This is before I started using AI, right? I was like, these language models are already trained on it. And the return on investment is super high because you're seeing the results, right? So that is what it is. Yeah, that's a little bit of cursor, what's going on here. If 1129, 30K is more than my annual income, Apple, no, Apple. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No, hopefully we can use AI here. Like the goal for me and the reason kind of why I'm getting into this stuff and why I'm turning on the camera every day is because if AI is the wave that's here, that's going to take us to the next level as far as like humanity and knowledge, I feel like I should be able to document this process, right? I'm going from an ex-employee, like I was let go because I was suffering through like long COVID and stuff, and I couldn't really actually do work, and I was on medical leave. And now that I'm on my own, it's like I don't even need them anymore technically if this AI thing is here. So I chose, the web dev and like going into this thing because I feel like this is going to be the highest leverage skill to have in my tool bag to launch apps, solve problems. Like VCs don't care about you if you're going to solve a problem that's going to generate $20 million a year. Like they're just gonna be like, oh, that's cute. That's not our problem, right? It's like, I'll be happy to take $20 million a year, plus, right? Self-funded, you can roll that into other things. That'll be amazing, right? So I think the goal is like, make the first 100K, make that first million, make that first 10 million, make that first 20 million, make that first billion. That's right. You got to say it out loud. Make that first billion. That's right. You are worthy of this if you're watching this chat. If you're watching this, drop the $1 billion in the chat. I know you got this. I know you got this. I know you want this too. Let's go. Yeah, so we're trying to code with AI, and hopefully we can get there and do this type of thing. So where are we with this type of thing? So the no stripe level will treat convex only, right? Promo expiry canceled. I'll draft a proposed implementation plan. I think what I want to go ahead and do, if there's no invite, else return cron can clear expired promos. This keeps all active changes in convex. I feel like we have really started to get off the rails here, and we may not have resolved the original issue. I want you to go back and review the plan and making sure that we're still on track. And so go ahead and send this over. Yeah, there seems to be a bug here with the cursor to-dos where there's like multiple to-dos that are still like one's open and closed. And I'm not really sure exactly what's going on here. Also, this seems to be a little bit slower than usual, but this seems to be working. Okay, so let's pause and zoom out. Sanity check where we started, what actually changed, and what remains to satisfy the last two target use cases. So the original bug is that the brand new user is that there's no users, and the root cause, and we fixed We merge this, and then the paid user clicks the trial invite. So this is my desired behavior. So this is probably where I should have just branched the chat or started a new chat to fix this thing. But, you know, like sometimes you're just in the flow of things, and we just started to go here. If their plan is canceled / expired, treat them as a fresh user. Yes, okay. So this is cool. So the promo handled purely in convex. Keep the stripe description unchanged. The schema extension now has a users table. Let me go here. Schema. Command P, schema. Okay. And then we're looking at promo tier. Oh, we don't have it. Okay. Promo expiry. Okay. Let's see. Promo. Yeah, we don't have it here either. Okay. Interesting. Starter, creator, helper logic. So update the general get user status internal and the public wrapper to compute an effective tier. Okay. Update the oh, okay. So it doesn't necessarily have a tier. Is trialing. Okay. Redemption invite mutation. So if the user subscription status is active and if the user tier is less than the subscription tier, reject it. Else, there's a promo tier. It's an invite and there's an expiry. So whatever the days are times 24 hours. And then the message, enjoy something days to the creator trial. Okay. All of the cases keep the current behavior, housekeeping cron. The daily cron that nulls promo tier expiry once the promo expiry is in the past. Oh, because like the promo could still be active even though we're past the days that it should be active. Okay. That's pretty cool. So in my what this is basically saying is that if a user gets in my database and starts a trial, I need to have like a job that goes into my database and looks to see if the trial is still active, and then flip a switch saying, hey, you're no longer active in my database. And so what people usually do is they set up a cron job for this, and then they'll start to kind of go through the code or do some type of thing. And so that's kind of cool. So like, I don't have to do anything like that. Advantage of Convex is they have cron stuff built in. So it's just literally a TypeScript file and it just does its thing. It's so cool. So I can just say run every time at midnight and it does that task for me. So that's pretty awesome. So here's the current status and current goals. Add a promo tier, promo expiry, patch this, modify, please confirm. This looks good. This looks good. Now go ahead and cook. Let's go. I like to treat it this way. I talk to my AI like I talk to me and talk to you. So that's what's up. I hope this changes soon. I'm both a fan of web apps and native platforms. It's hard to develop on the web. Yeah, we'll see what's going on. So I'm a blind dev and develop accessibility with mine. Oh, wow. Web is good, but accessibility native support is still the best. Orinx, I'm curious to hear your experience with my live streams and would love to hear any feedback on how I can make this more accessible for you or what is actually helpful, because I don't have anyone except for you right now who consumes the content and can give me that feedback. So I want to definitely see if I can help, because I don't think anyone really does this type of stuff with that in mind. And I'm just blown away that you're even here watching my live stream. I think this is just super impressive. So I definitely appreciate that. Hey, my friends, I want to learn coding. Yeah, I'd say start coding. There's a lot of YouTube videos. Ant A with the 1 billion in the chat from X. Let's go. The foundation believes. Mr. Frank, 1 billion, 3 comma club. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Curious how the Whisper module is implemented. The Whisper module, I think it was just vibe coded for me. It's a little bit not complicated, but there are multiple ways to implement it. And I think the biggest one for me is trying to make it actually work from a server side and client side. That was like the biggest complicated way, but I'll probably go over that in a different video. So as of now, what's happening is now the AI is updating the schema. So it's now understanding that there's a promo tier and there's a promo expiry. And then I think what I should do is like, it's creating all these new tiers and all this extra code, but I don't think it's following my original principles. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop it. I'm going to go ahead and say, make sure we follow the optimization principles. I'm going to go ahead and revert. right? Like we're at 78K tokens. So this is kind of where I'm thinking, apparently we get like 200K tokens with the O3 Max model. So we'll see what's up. Yeah. And I'm currently on the $20 a month pro plan for Cursor. So that's nice. We'll see how far I get. Hopefully I don't have to upgrade to the $200 a month plan. Otherwise, I don't know. I just move the Claude code forever. We'll see. Let's see. Curious. Okay. Did you get to try the Gemini CLI? No, I have not yet. I'll have to try it out. I've heard some people try it, but I think right now I'm a little bit in Claude Code, and then with Cursor's latest update, I'm kind of going between the two. The other one that I want to try out in a future stream is the thing called AMP. So AMP is supposedly supposed to be really good at like agentic tasks and stuff. It's a little bit pricier, but they're supposed to really understand the code base. So it's possible that some of the problems that I'm running into could be the fact that, like, you know, the agents itself are not that familiar with the code bases. So AMP is supposed to be a really good promise for that. And I'm going to have like a dedicated live stream just for that so that I can go over it with it. I have a friend whose name is Manuel, aka Code with AI is his handle. And he's been using AMP a lot. And I know other developers who have very large code bases have been using AMP and they love it like so much. And no one's really talking about it. So yeah, I'll probably be the first to like take a look at it myself on a dedicated stream because I want to like have a little bit of separation of concerns. People who are clicking this video, I think, are going to want to expect Cursor. And so, you know, I want to make sure that like, if I do ship a feature, I might even try to redo this feature and just ship it with AMP and see what the difference is. So that'll be really cool. So now, okay, so it's doing the grant promotional tier locally without touching. What is it saying? The Stripe, okay. Users, see how much less code we get just by telling it to use the optimization principles. I love this. That's how important it is. This is nice. Super nice, actually. Wow. Awesome, awesome. Should I put more time into learning the foundations of coding or put more time into working these? Both. It's yes and. It's not or, bro. it's and. You got to do everything as much as possible. Like learn both. You're going to get experience faster if you go work for someone and like ship features. You're going to learn so much faster. I would just say go work for someone for like underprice yourself just to get in the door and just ship. Like spend as much time with them, ask them as much questions. It's going to get you far ahead faster. And then if you're using AI on top of that to ask questions that you don't want to ask the developer, you're going to get way faster. Like that's probably your time to grow. I purposely don't talk about Apple as yes, as much because they're competing nicely. They aren't competing nicely, JK. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I moved on from them as a company, so like I want to play with the latest AI stuff, and they seem to be a little bit behind right now. AI definitely breaks the barrier of expensive traditional development. Well, it also allows entrepreneurs to build concepts and test business ideas. Yeah. Not competing nicely in AI. Yeah. Where can I find the opportunities to contribute to something that I can help me learn? Take an open source repo. Take something you like. Start using it. There's a thing called like Mail Zero. The developer is open source. There's like a bunch of open source software that you could just start using and start basically contributing. You get lots of feedback super fast. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so they have this here. They have the promo code cleanup code. So expired. This is the cron job, right? So it sets up a cron job for the internal mutation. Good. Now it's going to do a daily cron job check, and it calls this internal mutation. Nice. So around 100 lines object returns of internal equality, around 200 lines. Okay. Key implementation, strictly followed optimization principles, schema extension, promotional tier logic, single rule trial stayed, no new paid user upgrade logic. So if the redeem invite rejects if it's already trialing, if it's paid and the invite tier is lower than the current tier, it's going to reject it. This is great. And if it's paid and the invite tier is higher than the current tier, so for example, they're on my starter plan for $9.99 a month. If you're already paying that as a subscriber and I want you to try like the beta, I can give you like the beta link, right? So like, hey, try the higher tier that has the beta access, and it's going to grant you the promo for X amount of days. So like Stripe is untouched. And so that's pretty awesome. And then the promo cleanup would add expired promos and internal mutations to clear expired promo fields. And then scheduled daily via cron jobs. So we have a cron job that's going to go ahead and clean this up. So at this specific time for the cron job, it's going to run. This is really nice. I don't know if you've ever written cron jobs. You have to write these like zeros in the funny places, but part of what's nice about TypeScript, you could just literally just give it the hour UTC and it does its thing, which is pretty cool. So this keeps the code base with the lever framework. We extended one table, modified existing queries, reused patterns, avoided deduplication. Let me know if this is pretty cool. So just a FYI for those who are watching is that we had to like refeed the optimization principles file back into it. And for those who were secretly watching earlier, because you were watching and you're a true MVP, because you've been watching the entire stream the entire time, which you've been awesome. And you've been giving the thumbs up and like the subscribing. I put that into my GitHub repo, and that is under LLM cursor rules. So under Ray Fernando 1337. And this is kind of where we put it. It's called optimization principles. And I give some instructions for how you can copy this and put it into Claude Sonnet or whatever, and then tell it to review your repo and then have it basically make similar types of rules referencing this type of as an example. So that's kind of the way that you can have this really amazing optimization principle. So when we talk about lever, this is basically what it's talking about. It's leverage existing patterns, extend before creating, verify through reactivity, eliminate duplication, and reduce complexity. Did I know this before I created the rule? Hell no. What do you think I am? Some type of like AI wizard or something like that? We used a language model, Claude Sonnet, and we let all the other smart people who know how to code, like the language model already has this information, in its little brain, right? And it wrote this entire guideline document for me because it kind of knew a little bit about this type of thing, and it specifically called it out. And so now I can give you some of the sauce, and you can take this and say, adapt it to my code base and make a similar rules file. Here's an example. And then it's just going to do that for you. And it's going to grab existing patterns and other things that you have in your code along with examples. And so these examples are extremely important so that the language model can comply and follow these rules exactly. So this is actually not like, it may seem very long, but it's so perfect for these language models, and they do really, really well for this. I want some more of these live streams. Yo, man, if you subscribe, I got you. And if you're like totally feeling it, I definitely would hit up like, Ray Fernando YouTube at Ray Fernando 1337. Hit that join button. Join us here. Let me cook. And I'm going to go ahead and probably get these little loyalty badges updated so y'all can get the new fire emojis and stuff like that in the chat. And then, we're going to be definitely cooking. And then you'll get the secret access to the private Discord there as well. It's not really public because I'm actually my real, until I get about 100 subscribers, I'm going to have my Discord price actually is going to be double this, but that's okay. You get secret access. You get right in because y'all are the real true ones. Also, shout out to everyone who's become a member, which is super duper awesome. And I really appreciate it. But Mr. Frank, AKA 1 billion, AKA the 3 comma clubs. He's been a member for 6 months, and he's my first member that I ever got and was there from the very beginning when everything was starting to really blow up. So definitely appreciate everything. So big shout outs to Yo, Blackout, and other people who've been tuning in. So what do you think about the fact that Cursor offers Claude Sonnet 4, but its training data is older than the official Claude Force model? Cursor has its own models that run, and then it'll call to the model giving it context from your repo. So it's possible that you're having some issues with the rules or something like that. It's important to figure out how to stop user abuse. If I launched my project now, people could dump terabytes into my Supabase for free. I needed to wait to limit that without ruining real users. So in Convex, because it's written in TypeScript, you can actually make a check just like you could with Supabase, right? Supabase, you either do row level security to make sure that the user has authorization to write to that database. But in Convex, you'll have like internal mutations that can only be run on the server. And that'll be for specific tasks. But in your internal mutation or in some type of writing, you would also do an authentication check to say, am I the person who is allowed to actually run the specific call into this specific function? And so you'll want to do a review of that. And it like sort of security architecture, but you may want to ask some questions with the AI and then kind of do some diligence and do a code review and kind of learn a little bit more about that. I'm still learning about it, by the way. I'm not necessarily saying that I have it all down perfect. But that's something that you want to look into. I've never seen anyone use cursor like this. Oh, I'm really curious. How do people use cursor? I'm just using cursor just the way that I learned how to use it, just by coding. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people learn from my streams, which I really love. 3 comma clubs. Let's go. Let's go. I wish I had access to Claude for Sonnet. You can. VPNs. People say they use VPNs. I'm not saying that you should use a VPN, but figure it out. Intelligence is there. It's really great. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people get a lot of knowledge from my streams, and I really don't. Yeah. One other pro tip, by the way, if you're using the terminal, I'm going to do a quick terminal session right now for those, because I know people were asking about it. But if you're typing in like all these different types of stuff, like la la la, like, and you wanted to like go back in your chat and figure out like this whole thing. So typically when you hit delete, people are like deleting forever like this by hitting the enter key or the backspace. Control W will just take words away, like word. See, Control W. So that's the, if you're using a Mac, it's not the option key, it's actually the control key. So Control W goes at. And so when people are like typing in like, all the stuff and they want to go back, if you hold Option and hit delete, it does the same thing too. So Option delete does that. If you hit Option and you hit the arrow key like left or right, it'll basically do that. So Option left or right does that. If you hit up or down, up will basically, take you to these types of things. Hit Control C to do this type of thing to go there. There's a lot of other bash commands and other cool things like you can do, like piping and grep and awk, and there's all these really cool tools that we'll probably talk about in a future stream, but they tend to will come up naturally. Now, I do want to make different videos. I also have some homework for you, by the way. I have my little paperworks here. I have some homework for you. I want you to drop some comments in the video because I want to know what topics do you guys want me to stream about, and then what topics do you want me to make videos about? Because I want to make some dedicated videos to help you that aren't going to be hours long. I really want to make them like a couple minutes to 5 minutes so that you can learn. Because as of right now, I have a whole bunch of stuff. I've been reading all the comments and reading all the live streams and taking notes. Because there's some people want to find out about my documentation. So how I do the planning. I have a lot of stuff like in a lot of folders organized there. And those are all conversations with Claude Code in my repo. And you're seeing how useful the planning is, especially when I want to optimize my code to go back and forth, right? I'll feed it to files, like making sure we follow these rules. And the output is clean. It's super clean. It's way different than just telling the AI to go fix itself. But that's a big deal. Control W is that thing I just showed you right now to delete the things. I'm going to make a separate, just short video about that so people can share it with their friends. That way you don't have to watch like an hour video just to figure out that you have to do that shortcut. There's the hooks thing that I want to make a dedicated video about. I have a live stream about it. That live stream has already got like 6,000 views. I was like, damn. Let's see. I also have a design guideline. So I want to talk about my design guidelines doc that I haven't showed you about, but that's what I use to clean up the code to make things really good, especially with React, because React is a really great framework for this type of thing. And then ShadCN, as far as like a design guidelines, I mean, you have to be using ShadCN. So why reinvent the wheel, right? Software development lifecycle planning. I have something like that there. I also have some basics with Git and Cursor, which is kind of what I was going a little bit over about, but I think I want to get a dedicated video on that. App building, like what do I use? And might just build an app from scratch. So like one of the ones I was going to build was like build one for my community so that people get Discord access and I don't have to manually let them in. Deploying to Vercel, Cloudflare, and like using Convex as well. Probably MCPs like browser use and Convex, design Figma to Cursor. Yeah, I think those are some of the topics I have, but like just drop anything you want in the comments. I read every comment, by the way, and I'll make sure that I get some content on that, which would be really, really cool. And that'll be what's up. Yeah, good work, Sam. Bro, okay, so I get this comment like sometimes on some of my videos, and people say that I look like Sam Altman, and they also say I look like Jimmy Fallon. I was like, Jimmy Fallon? I guess there's a video on my TikTok where I have like, it got like almost 1 million views. And I'm like on a beach talking with my glasses, and people thought I looked like Jimmy Fallon. I was like, no way. No way. Like, okay. But yeah, like I actually, I'll see if I can find Sam Altman like in real life and take a photo with him. That'd be really cool. So I stream every day this summer. Every single day at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time is when I plan to go live. So catch me live. Show up tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Show up in the stream. Ask some questions. I'm going to pick one of these topics and we're just going to go ahead and cook. So don't have a Cursor Pro plan, but I use the delete account method. Set up environment, set up Cursor. Okay, so these are the topics that people want. So like, how do I set up my environment? How do I set up Cursor to do these kind of videos? That'd be kind of cool. How do I handle like dependencies in architecture? That'd be an interesting one. So yeah, let me write some of these down. So I think one of them they said about environments. So environment, setup. And then another one was the dependencies, depths, and architecture. I mean, the architecture is really simple for me. It's literally the same thing every time. And I don't know if you're talking about like framework architecture. So I use like Next.js. I use for like the front end, and as far as like the back end for the database is Convex. And the reason why I'm using Convex is because the database is written in TypeScript. So that just means that whenever I write a wrong type or something is off, I'm immediately going to get alerted because they have all the tooling in place. The second part of why I use Convex is because it's reactive. Literally, as soon as you set up a hook for the front end, you're going to get that query right flowing through from the back end. So you have people write to the back end, it just flows right to the front. You don't need to add extra boilerplate code to deal with caching and invalidation and doing all this stuff. That's the power of like Next.js, right? So for free, you get a lot of different things between the two. And that's why it's a really good thing to deal with. As far as authentication, I use Clerk. I let a company who already is venture backed handle and figure out, all the security updates, all the different things that need to be pushed for all the different things. It's super easy to integrate. So I can get a Google sign in, I can get an email sign in. That's all you need. You connect that with Convex, which already has a nice integration with it, with Next.js, super fast. You get that full life cycle amazingly quick. So that's pretty much the stack as far as like architecture. How do I get free Claude 4 Sonnet? I don't know. If somebody in the chat knows, just definitely drop it in the chat. Y'all should help each other. I tried everything, even support. Cursor's Claude uses April 2024 data, but the real model is from January 2025. A big deal for C++, C# APIs. One development. Have you ever tried using RepoPrompt? I would definitely suggest trying that. If you haven't heard of RepoPrompt, I have some videos on it from the founder. His name is Eric Provencher, and he used to be a staff researcher at Unity, and this boy's cracked. And this is probably the app that you're looking for. He has a free trial. You can literally download the app. But basically what it allows you to do is you have the full context of your code. There's no cursor. There's no anyone in between taking chunks of your code. You literally will check mark the files that you want. And then from there, you can copy the prompt and its structure and everything and just put it straight into, Anthropic's website. Or call it via the API, and you'll get the full response back with the exact, things. So you're not dealing with an intermediary. It's possible that other providers are giving an older version of something like you're saying. Here, you're just going straight from code, straight to the, provider via the API or via the web interface. And so I think this could be perfect for you. Eric worked a lot writing Swift code. And so he wrote this app with that in mind. And I think you guys are kind of in the similar wavelength as far as the problems that you're trying to solve and kind of what you're looking for. I am 100% vibe coder, and I've been using Code Server Dockerized with Claude Code on Terminal. The interface looks almost the same. What does Cursor offers more? Cursor just offers all the other models, right? So I get O3, I get Google Gemini, I get DeepSeek, I get everything. So in Cursor, they have like this agent, and you can select all of the different models that you want. So let me just kind of move this comment out of the way so you can see it. So in here, if I want to do a conversation with Opus, if I want to do O3 Max, I have the Gemini Pro models, I have GPT-4.1, And I just pay one subscription. It's $20, right? So I don't have to pay these different providers or different fees. It's just all done through this interface. Obviously, it's through an agent. So you're basically, kind of getting that type of thing. You're kind of pushing yourself through them. So that's what it is. Can you give some cool websites like I saw recently, like Reweb? Oh, there's a whole bunch of cool websites. I might have to do some different videos on that. More like helping coding websites you came across. Lesser known ones would be a bonus. I think one that y'all need to know about, like literally right now, that you should probably be using is called Scout.new. So they just relaunched like yesterday. And this is probably like the most slept on thing. I call this the Manus killer. For those who don't know, Manus is like an agentic web researcher, coder, everything. And these guys are absolutely cracked. These guys are from the US. I think they're barely 20, bro. They barely just turned 20. I don't even know if they're old enough to drink. And they are super experienced. They used to work at a startup doing like agentic coding for them. And then they left and made their own startup. And they actually were featured in an OpenAI keynote. And it's called computer.new. And so they basically made the computer use agents work so that you don't have to use your computer. This can actually be deployed on an AWS cluster and everything like that. So literally you can spin up a computer in like a second on an AWS server running at light speed and have it like find an apartment, do anything you can tell like a language model to do, just give it an English instructions and it basically does it. So they set up that framework. They built this app on top of their own thing and it basically will write code for you. It can, create apps for you. It can do research. It can, pull data. Anything you want it to do, you basically can do it here with this. So yeah, this is scout.new. Definitely check it out. Super duper awesome. No one really talks about it or knows about it because it's just still so new. And y'all heard it here first. You're going to be the one to tell your friends all this alpha, right? So that's going to be what it is right there. So that's what's up. So yeah, let's see what else. Could you give some... And during those videos, please tell us how to use the MCPs and rules that you're using. Okay, that'd be super helpful. How to make a project that have one backend and two front ends work together. Ooh, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because like Pudo, I'm kind of doing the same thing with mine. I have one front end website that's on Next.js, and then my backend website /app is on another repo. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I do plan to have multiple front ends or just one front end with different routes so that I can have different SEO paths, right? So like if somebody's searching a different thing, I want to have a different web experience and layout and different copy. And that's kind of, I may get that into that later in the stream, but I definitely, not this stream, but I mean like future videos and stuff. While you stream, do you start a new project from scratch every time? No. Sometimes I do, but like a lot of times I'm just continuing on building my app, Ray Transcribes. Like that's a full-time type of thing. And I feel like as I learn stuff as I go or try new things, I'm just kind of using that as my anchor right now. So Claude Max versus Claude Max. Oh, Cursor Max. Okay. If I had to choose between the two, Vendant, guess what it is? If I had to choose between Cursor Max and Claude Max, which one would I choose? It is going to be Claude Code right now. So I'm already paying that $200 a month to Claude so that I can have that full Opus model. And here's something really cool that I want to show you right now, just to show you how much I've saved on car insurance. Now, just like, it sounds like a commercial, right? But yeah, like, so if you do this thing called Bun X CC usage. So basically, yeah, this will tell you how much Claude Code usage you've used. So I've already used $398 worth. I'm paying $200 a month. Anthropic is catching an L on me, and you're going to do the same thing because you're going to use this as much as possible and they're going to catch an L. So like, I'm trying to like hustle and launch my app. You see, it's all Opus usage. Opus is very expensive to use. And even like one day I spent 141. There's people spending thousands of dollars. I posted this on Twitter. It went super viral because so many people found out it's like, oh, this is actually a really good deal. It's like, yeah, if you use the API, it's a huge deal. I mean, you're burning tokens left and right. And that's just what they want to do right now. That's okay. And I'm taking advantage of it while we can. So I feel like this is our golden era and we got to do this. And the reason why I'm using Claude Code a lot is because it's just so good at its coding. And with Cursor's latest update that they just released today with the to-dos, and it's still rolling out to other people, by the way, you need Cursor 1.2 to have this to-do feature. We're seeing that like there are some limitations. Some of the stuff works, but you know, it's getting better. But if I had to choose between the two, $200 a month, Claude Code, use that Opus Max model, just go all the way. I had the $100 a month plan, but after 20% usage, they say you can't use the Opus model right now for Claude Code, you know, and then if you do force it to use the model, in order for you to force to use a specific model in Claude Code, what you have to do is that, for example, you type in Claude, and Claude will get you into the interface. And then once you're in here, /model will actually let us select the model you want. So you can go default, Opus, or Sonnet. So if you specifically select Opus, you're going to burn through your usage limits. They say 5 times faster. That means that within an hour of coding, you'll be like done. And you're like, I still got the rest of the day. What's going on? And if you pay for that $200 a month, you can pretty much use it as much as you want. After 5 hours, it just resets. So I haven't had any limits issues after upgrading. Just that's what's up. Yeah. So just subbed. Hey, thanks, man. Definitely appreciate it. What about building a website detecting AI code? Is it going to help? I wouldn't bother with that. These AI, there's no way now. Dude, I don't know. I want Claude Opus. Opus is the one. I'm at 3K in a row. I'm at 3K now in a week. 3K, is that like 3K subscribers, dollars? Like, please tell me. Have you tried Gemini CLI? I have not. I need to do that. I'm 22. I've been writing code for 2 months before I got 3.5 came out, and say 80% of the code I write is AI. So the last few years I've been building, learning as I pick up. This is good. Yeah. And I would say like whatever projects you get started on, that helps you anchor your learning so that you keep applying things you don't forget. And like, you just kind of keep rolling with this and deep dive. The issue for me is to learn something I have to land into the problem. And is that an issue? This might include some CS fundamentals. Do I need to pause? No, just keep rolling. Like, there are people in the community that you can reach out to. Reach out to see if you can maybe start your own groups, especially locally, and see if you can kind of do that. Vendant, you're talking about a really awesome keyword called UltraThink. And for those who don't know, I wrote a little bit about this at rayfernando.ai. So UltraThink is one of those fancy keywords that you can give Claude Code. I know this isn't about Claude Code right now, but I'm having a moment and people are bringing this up and y'all have to do this. Y'all have to know about this. It's called Getting the Most. If you just go to rayfernando.ai, Getting the Most from Claude Code, my first post up here, you'll actually see there are some specific keywords and it's called Think Harder. I'm going to do an exact video on this exact workflow for think hard, think harder, and UltraThink. So UltraThink, you're supposed to no spaces, exactly just like the way it is right here. It's going to trigger this keyword in Claude Code so that you'll get 32,000 tokens specifically dedicated to thinking. And this makes the model feel a lot smarter. So as each step of whatever it's doing, it's going to do this UltraThink. And that context of thinking actually helps it produce much better results. So this is something that y'all need to know about. It's not like vibe coded / made up. This is actually from Anthropic's website. If you type in UltraThink, this is something that they mentioned here. And if you actually go and inspect their open source, I don't know if it's open source. I think it is. Their code repo, they actually do talk about these keywords and it's mapped to however many tokens. So if they see these words exactly the way they are in your actual request, that's where they'll actually give these types of things. The next level is also trying to map this to a / request, but that's a little too far advanced. I'm not trying to get that far and get us too distracted. So, oh, Dennis, you're using that usage. You've used $3,000 in a week of Claude Opus. Bro, like, that's what's up. I feel like they limit the usage in a few months. Try to take advantage of it while you can. Yep, this is the time. This is the time to do it. Yeah. Get coding with all your different stuff. So, all right, y'all. Damn, we've been on this marathon stream of 2 hours and 28 minutes. I definitely appreciate everyone who's been able to show up. So we've got about 800 people who've shown up on X. We've got like 68 people on YouTube. Thank you for showing up. I'll be available tomorrow at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, July 4th. And the 5th is my birthday. So we're going to be trying to see if I can launch version 2 of my app, Ray Transcribes. So that way I can send out these trial invites and get some people to sign up for the app as well. Because y'all need to know about this SEO game with transcripts, right? Like, get your stuff transcribed, get them in your YouTube videos and your content, and like they're going to be searchable on Google basically instantly, which is super next level. So that's what's up. Someone give out a free trial. I'm trying to use Opus, a Chrome extension. Yeah. Happy early birthday. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate all the love. Everyone's been super awesome to show up on here. I'm eternally grateful for everyone who's been able to just kind of make this a real thing with me. It's kind of been a dream to, you know, build apps and do stuff on my own now and share back some of the knowledge. I think a lot of people I've been really surprised at how much people have learned just from me coding live. So I definitely appreciate all the love and everything. So if you have any questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. I am taking lots of notes. I have all these notes. I read all the comments. So I want to make sure I am able to, you know, like actually help you out. And this stuff is going to be content I use for future videos. And so, you know, like all of this stuff that people do, drop the comments, everything basically kind of keeps compounding and helping me out as far as like understanding like what people are seeing. A lot of times it's really hard for me to know like what people like. Something I think is very basic, for example, like that Control W command to go and delete words, or Option Delete to delete words in terminal. It's like, it seems very basic to me because I've been doing it for so long, but I forget that people who are new to coding, like that's kind of like, wow, like it's a huge unlock. And so I want to like any of your comments are extremely helpful because I can then explain it to you and saying, oh yeah, that's right. This is something that you probably want to learn about. And you probably should be aware that this is like a thing, or I can explain things maybe that someone else hasn't really explained too well, because that was kind of my problem before too. So like I used to have a lot of problems with people explaining things, and I would never really like understand things until like I kind of had to learn it in my own way of thinking, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's kind of what's up. So I want to really quickly go and give a shout out to everyone who's been able to support this stream. Without you guys, like I really wouldn't be here, if you know what I mean. Like everyone has really just been extremely generous and thankful for their time and everything. So starting with Mr. Frank, you're like the oldest person who's been like there from day one, and you're like a day one subscriber, and I'm trying to get you loaded up in here. You joined 6 months ago as a member, and I deeply appreciate that, because you get the nice golden badge right now. So as you drop comments and stuff, like you're like the real MVP. Alberto as well, 4 months ago, you joined, super duper awesome on the stream here. You know, just been like real big as far as like for the people who've been the early gang to join up and stuff here. Same with Halil, Scott, McKay Wrigley also dropping the sub for the membership as well. Y'all are real ones right now. Let me go ahead and see if I can refresh this, because it is really freaking out on me right now. So yeah, this is my membership. These are currently all my active members here. If I see your members, basically all it is to join is like that, you know, $6.99 a month. Y'all are real ones. Arda, you basically get access to the Discord. It's a private thing right now that I got going. So you know, those are the folks that are currently on there. So yeah, Mr. Frank, Alberto, y'all are the real ones as well. And then so who else we got up in here? McKay Wrigley, Arda, we got Ryan. We also got Tony. We got Tech Friend. We got Micah. Cursor also dropped a sub. Dude, that's insane. I don't think y'all realize this, that Yo, Windsurf, where you at, bro? Chris, we got Issa, we got PA Learner, we got Joe, we got Manny, we got Adam, we got Biz, we got Tunke, Odell, Ryan, and then Passionate Sunit, just the last day or so. Big shout outs, because we also had someone who just recently rejoined. So Odell, big shout outs to you as well, man. Y'all are the real MVPs right now, making the stream very possible. So yeah, I think that's about 21 members or so, 22. Yeah, 22 members making this stream possible. And I really definitely appreciate the support, because that's above and beyond, you know, the free subscription, and definitely seeing a lot of value. And, you know, this is all going to be going into me doing the editing and so forth. So y'all are real. And so yeah, just for those who are interested, I know some people are asking in the chat right now. So if you just go to Ray Fernando 1337 on YouTube, I think they just recently enabled this to be accessible on iOS. If you hit the little join button, so the join button will actually let you join from here. And then this basically, you know, goes through YouTube, And then I'm going to revamp my loyalty badges to do the little fire emoji so that we get that golden fire for the 6 months. And then we just get some like the platinums and the super platinums for the, you know, the longer membership time. So that'll be what's up. Yeah, right now I'm giving a private access to my Discord. My goal right now is to try to get like 100 subscribers, you know, paying $6.99 a month, which would be really, really cool. I feel like that'll be kind of like a fun achievement there to like, you know, kind of keep moving this thing forward, and that like me get like a full-time editor. So that way I'm not the one spending a lot of time cutting up the videos, because I do want to make all these videos. And so I want to make them and then get them edited, and it takes a lot of time. So like if I'm just able to turn on the camera and then someone just is editing in the background, I'm just like, you know, have a whole production thing. I think that'd be really cool. So I do have some previous videos where I have hired an editor and they've done an amazing job. And so I've been traveling, and now that I'm back, I'm really just trying to make this a real thing. So big shout outs to everyone. So Dizzy, definitely thank you. Thanks everyone else who's been able to kind of go join in. Chris as well. I just subbed. It's awesome, man. Cursor versus Claude Code. Claude Code, man. Claude Code. Y'all rewatch some of the earlier stream. That's what's up. How long do you think it'll take to design a complete website with the prompts? V0? You can get that thing done like in 5 minutes, bro. Fire stream. Osni, thank you so much for participating. I definitely appreciate that, man, for becoming a member. That's so cool. Big shout outs to Osni, Nito. Drop a like as far as like where you're from. I would love to know a little bit more about like where everyone's kind of commenting from. It'd be kind of fun. Cursor just hired Anthropic engineers 2 days later and dropped Claude Code features to Cursor. I'm pretty sure these features were already in progress, FYI. And then that whole thing is just kind of like, you know, mathematical as far as like how that stuff works. Investment on front, man. More output, more outcome. Yeah, for sure. No, trust me. Like, this is my summer of streaming. So I've been streaming every day since July 1st at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to figure out like what's going on, drop in tomorrow, 9 o'clock, every single day, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Even on my July 4th, even on my birthday, July 5th, I'll be dropping in 9 o'clock in the morning. Unless otherwise, I'll be posting saying, you know, I'm going to stream at a different time. And I want to take you along with me. For my summer of streaming as well, by the way, I'm planning to see if I can do some meetups of people in person. Because I'm here in the Bay Area, I can pull up to people literally in San Francisco, and I want to meet these founders. So I want to do a really cool, like, you know, Kai Cenat live stream style where I just show up like a celebrity and just like, you know, tap in on people. I also want to invest in some equipment. There's this one piece of equipment called the YOLO box, and that will allow me to like live stream anywhere in the world. Like it has a SIM card and everything built in. So what I do is I pull up, and I want to pull up to people in a cafe and be like, yo, what IDE are you using? Are you using Claude Code? Are you using Cursor? What are you making? And there's some really cool stuff that you'll probably be able to bump into, but I really love this stuff. It's 3 a.m. in Singapore. Yo, I'm on. Thank you so much for tuning in, man, and for staying up. Y'all must be really vibing right now. Anyone know any ways to get Claude for, bro? I don't know. For free, I feel like paying even $20 just to get 4 Opus, the return on investment is worth it. I think it's probably more worth it for you psychologically, if you know what I mean. Because if you're paying for something, that means you really value it. If you don't value it and you're just trying to like get it for free, I don't know. Like you can also get something of similar intelligence, by the way, just using the DeepSeek model, which is currently free. So if you get the DeepSeek R1 model, load that up, you'll be able to get that Claude Opus level intelligence for free. Like go load that up, go figure out how to get that on your machine. Go Google it since you're in the free mode right now. Like, you know, use your time since you probably have a lot of time to do that. And you'll be cooking. Like seriously. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of the best thing to do right now if you're into that. All right, folks, I will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Big shout outs to Osni, who became a member on the stream. I definitely appreciate that. The real MVP right now. Big shout outs to, oh man, there's just so much going on with everyone and everything. And I really appreciate it. PA Learner, who's also currently a member, been watching on the stream as well. Big shout outs if you're actually rewatching the stream. Like, for example, you couldn't join in today and you're able to drop some comments and stuff. Feel free to drop the comments. Like I said, just because it's not live, that's going to be what's up. And big shout outs to Mr. Frank, the real MVP, aka 3 Comma Club, 1 billion. That's where we are going with this channel. $1 billion, my friends. Y'all don't even know it yet, but you witness it here first. Mr. Frank has been the longest subscribing member at 6 months. Just hit that today, that milestone. So I definitely appreciate the support. And with that, my friends, I will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Peace out, y'all.